You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of this shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of What If Naruto Enters Family Guy. Special note, this fanfic is written in the masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Naruto and Meg drove back to the Griffin house in the morning as they had no school today but Naruto's fight tonight. Thanks for the new clothes, Meg said as she hugged Naruto after they got out of the car. No problem, babe, you definitely earned them after we broke the bed, Naruto said with a smile before he kissed Meg passionately. Hey girl, where you been all night? Roberta yelled from across the street as she left her house to see them. Well, Meg started to say, but Roberta cut her off. Holy shit, he wrecked you, Roberta said after one look at Meg. Well, my daddy has stamina, Meg said with a giggle while Naruto chuckled. Aw man, now I gotta think of something else to call him now, Roberta pouted. Well, you have some time to think about it. We have a date in 4 hours, Naruto said with a chuckle at her pout. I'll come up with something, stud, Roberta smirked before going back inside. So who's gonna tell Haley? Naruto asked Meg. Oh, I bet Roberta is already texting her, Meg said with a smile as she knew her friend was a gossip. What? Haley's voice was heard shouting from her house by the two. Naruto sighed at this. I may need to find a way to calm her down, Steve said. She's a little competitive, he said. There's a small rock concert Sunday. Take her there, Meg said. Any ideas for a date with Roberta in 4 hours? You have good ideas, Naruto said as he and her entered the house. Take her for lunch. There's a sushi place you can take her to on Main Street, Meg suggested. She likes sushi? Naruto asked. No, but what she's hungry for isn't on any menu, Meg said. Are you saying skip the date and just F her? Naruto asked, bewildered. Well, you need stress relief before your match, right? Meg asked with a smirk. I'd prefer to actually dat. He was cut off as Meg's phone rang. Yes, Roberta? Meg asked, answering her phone. Did you talk him into skipping the date and just having him F me yet? Roberta asked on speakerphone. Naruto sighed at this. Fine, meet me at the hotel. I text you we're not leaving until my match tonight, so be prepared for limping. You got it, stud. Don't worry, we'll do our actual date after your match, Roberta said. Wear something tight, he loves your ass, Meg said with a smirk at Naruto, who rolled his eyes at her teasing before she hung up. I really wish I had a way to take her somewhere before fucking her, Naruto sighed. Babe, you've spent time with all three of us since you've gotten here, and she knows you care about her. So let her use her body to help you relax before your big fight tonight, Meg told him. Naruto paused at this before he smiled and nodded. I guess you're right. Yes, I am now go break her in and do her even more stupid, Meg said with a smirk. God, I love you, Naruto said with a chuckle before he left the house after grabbing his boxing gear so Francis didn't fuck with it before his match. Hotel. Naruto was waiting in his hotel room for Roberta to arrive. He sat on the bed in his underwear waiting for her when his phone suddenly vibrated. He opened it to see a text from Haley and opened it. His eyes widened when he saw a photo sent to him of Haley flashing her nude breasts for the camera. The picture also had a text attached. Anytime, anywhere, just say the word. Damn, Naruto muttered. Wow, looks like Haley has some freak in her, Roberta said from behind Naruto. He suddenly jerked from her appearance. I didn't even hear you come in, he said with a smile. Sorry, stud. I had to walk here since Cleveland was busy at work, Roberta told him. You walked here? I guess you must be excited, Naruto chuckled. Oh, I've been waiting for this since I met you, baby, Roberta purred out. I hope you realize after tonight you're mine, Naruto said. Ooh, you think you're skilled enough to make me submit? Roberta said with a flirty smirk. I don't think it. I know it. Naruto told her confidently before he grabbed Roberta's wrist, bringing her down on his knees with a laugh before he pulled down her tight jeans, exposing her large round ass. Naruto licked his lips as his head moved, caressing Roberta's supple cheeks, making her bite on her finger to hold back her own moans. Without warning, she cried out in shock as the blonde boxer's hand slapped her right ass cheek. Roberta blushed with shock when suddenly she felt his hand come down on her again. Smack. "Who's a naughty little girl?" Naruto asked a stunned Roberta, but before she could say anything he slapped her ass, causing her to cry out again. "Who's a naughty little girl?" he said, quickly slapping her ass again. Smack. I am Roberta screamed, getting another spanking. "I can't hear you," Naruto said as he spanked her again. Smack. "I am," she muttered lightly, shaking her ass again. Smack. "I am," Roberta cried out in pleasure. "You are what?" Naruto said, beginning to deliver harder slaps to both her cheeks. "I'm a naughty little girl," Roberta screamed. "A naughty girl who deserves a good spanking," she screamed out in ecstasy as her juices ran down Naruto's leg before he continued to assault her ass a few more times as it shined bright red. Roberta quickly jumped to her feet, pulling down Naruto's underpants, freeing his large shaft, slapping her lightly in the face. The oldest brown child licked her lips, standing up, and she used her hand to hold up Naruto's shaft while trying to spread open her ass cheeks with the other. Seeing her struggle, Naruto took hold of his own length, allowing Roberta to spread her large chocolate moons before pressing it between them. Roberta clenched her cheeks tightly around his big effing shaft, pressing tightly so she wouldn't slip up and let it fall. She then began to slide and move her hips up and down along the massive man meat, giving her ass a light and enticing twerk as she did so, sensually moving her hips. Naruto grunted in pleasure at this as his shaft felt incredible. "You like this ass, stud?" Roberta purred out as she smacked her ass cheek as she moved her hips. Naruto grit his teeth in pleasure from the experience, pleasing Roberta as she began to pick up her pace. After a few more minutes, she began to feel his shaft throbbing and clenched it tighter before he finally erupted, spraying his hot white juice all over her back. Naruto panted while he watched Roberta lightly flip her hair, moving her hand down her back, holding up as much of Naruto's release as she could before bringing her hand up to her mouth and slowly running her tongue over it as she began to clean off her hand in a seductive manner, causing Naruto's shaft to stand once again. "Get on the bed," Naruto ordered Roberta dominantly. Roberta smirked at this before she slowly crawled onto the bed and twerked her ass at Naruto when she got on all fours. "You just love being a teasing slut, don't you?" Naruto groaned as he got on the bed and behind Roberta. "What makes you think that, baby?" Roberta asked innocently. Smack. "Ah, Tilda," Roberta moaned as she hugged a pillow close from Naruto's smack to her ass. "Don't get smart with me," Naruto said as he grabbed her thick ass and rubbed his shaft on her wet kitty. "If you think you can break me, then go for it already. Or are you all talk and don't have it in you to tame this beach?" Roberta asked with a smirk as she poked at his ego. "You're about to find out," Naruto growled as he placed the head of his shaft at her kitty and thrust it hard. "Oh, that shaft feels good." "Ah," Roberta moaned as she bit her lip as Naruto's shaft stretched her kitty wide open, reshaping it for his shaft. "How's that feel, beach?" Naruto asked with a smirk. "Pretty good so far. How's my kitty?" "It's tight and needs me to reshape it," Naruto said with a grunt as her kitty squeezed on his shaft tightly. "Then go for it, baby. If you think you're man enough to claim this wild beach," she said with a smirk. "That's the plan," Naruto said before he started to thrust into her at a faster and harder pace, pounding away at her tight twat vigorously. "Ah, you're so effing big, baby," Roberta moaned out and then screamed as she felt him thrust into a very sensitive spot in her kitty. "Hey, that's your weak spot?" Naruto smirked as he continued to thrust into her, gripping her hips hard. "No," Roberta stuttered, trying to save face with her lie. Naruto grinned as he leaned forward close to her ear. "Then you won't mind if I hit that spot some more," he whispered into her ear, before he thrusted hard, hitting his shaft into her and making her ass clap against his waist, targeting the particular spot only by rubbing his hilted shaft directly in that spot. Roberta couldn't even scream as the pleasure made her eyes roll into the back of her head, and her tongue hang out from her mouth. Naruto growled as he felt his shaft throb from how tight she was. Where do you want it? He growled. Roberta said nothing due to her crazed pleasure she was feeling. Tell me, or you get nothing, Naruto ordered as he spanked her fat ass to make her come to. Inside, baby, Roberta yelled as she felt her kitty throb. Tell me you're mine, Naruto growled as his hips slapped against her ass. Yes, I'm yours. I was already yours when we first met. Now it's official that I'm your whore, Roberta yelled as she started to climax. Good girl, Naruto groaned as he finally climaxed and fired his seed into her kitty. Roberta screamed as she came herself while feeling her womb flood with his juice. I think you knocked me up, stud, Roberta moaned out. I brought birth control pills, Naruto said as he held up a small tin of them. And we've only been here for 30 mins. We've still got 3.5 hours for me to wreck your slotty body some more. He smirked at her as he lightly slapped her ass, making her moan in pleasure. Then do it, baby, Roberta said with a smirk. Use your new juice dumpster as much as you want, she told him. God, I love you, Naruto groaned as he started to thrust some more into Roberta's willing kitty. The two lovers did for the next 3.5 hours, their shouts echoing through all of the hotel. Later at the Quahog Dome. How are you feeling, Roberta? Meg asked her friend as Roberta, and Haley were in a private box looking down at the boxing ring, watching as some boxers fought while waiting for Naruto's main event match. Like I can't move my legs, she giggled from her seat when Naruto brought her there. He dropped her off at the private booth to rest up. Lucky, Haley grumbled as she was jealous. Cheer up, Haley, you have him tomorrow, Meg said. I do? Haley asked, surprised. Yup, Naruto said that pic you sent was hot and it sent him over the edge when plowing me, Roberta told her with a smirk. Haley blushed as the three watched a boxer knock out another with a left hook, ending the bout in a knockout. In the crowd. Come on, Dad, you gotta eat something, Peter said as he handed his father some popcorn. I don't want any, you stupid drunkard. I don't even want to be here, Francis told Peter angrily. Peter, why did you bring your father here? He hates boxing, Brian asked with an annoyed look as he was really getting sick of Francis criticizing him for being an atheist. I just figured it'd be a good way to bond with him, Peter said. Lois sighed at her husband's stupidity. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the night, a ring announcer shouted. In the ring already from Paris, France, Francois Franco, he gestured to a Frenchman in the ring waving to the crowd haughtily. And his opponent, the announcer said before the lights went out and music started to play. Play Shoot to Thrill by 80. As the lyrics played, two attractive blonde women pulled back a red curtain for Naruto to step through. Jillian was wearing a white corset and high heels. Lockhart was wearing the same outfit but black. Oh wow, Naruto got Lockhart as one of his ring babes, Haley said with a surprised look. Course he did, I bet he has her giving him special exams within a month, Meg said with a smirk. Girl, I hope so. I want to motorboat them titties, Roberta said with her own smirk. Naruto stepped through wearing a pair of black shorts with white lettering for Peterschmidt Industries on them. He was not wearing boxing gloves yet as Lockhart carried a white glove while Jillian carried a black boxing glove. He was however wearing a black and white fur pimp-like coat as he walked to the ring, arms linked with Jillian and Lockhart as he smiled at the crowd. Ooh, fancy, Roberta said with a smirk. With the other Griffins. Humana, Lois was muttering to herself watching Naruto enter as the fur coat was opened showing off his muscled chest fully. Look at those harlots gallivanting with him, Francis said bitterly. Now residing in Quahog, Rhode Island, making his debut for his first ever match in the United States, welcome the Riptide, Naruto Uzumaki, the ring announcer shouted as the dome broke out into loud applause. Knock him dead, Lockhart said as she and Lockhart stopped at the ring and took off Naruto's coat for him before each placed a boxing glove on his hand. Naruto nodded with a smile before Jillian held up his mouth guard and placed it in front of her mouth teasingly for him to take in a faux kiss. Do it, do it, do it. The crowd cheered seeing this about to happen. Naruto chuckled at this before he let Jillian put the mouth guard in his mouth before he stepped into the ring and leaned against a corner. All right guys, I want a nice clean fight. No hitting below the belt. No kicks, no biting, no funny business whatsoever, a referee told the two as they nodded before going to their respective corners. Knock his sorry ass out, Haley yelled at Naruto from her seat in the private booth. Sacre Bleu, are you with that loud woman? Francois asked. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this, showing he wanted to know why he was asking. I despise overly loud women. They are irritating. You should find another one that's not as loud, that one, Francois said haughtily. Naruto glared at the man at this and slammed his gloves together. Oh fuck, that guy is dead, Ellie said with a chuckle when she saw this. Perhaps those two sluts would like to be my escorts when I best you in your debut. The arrogant Frenchman just kept digging his grave further and further. The bell rang and the Frenchman was instantly upon Naruto and sent a left hook at Naruto's face, and did nothing. What? He asked, shocked at seeing no impact whatsoever. Naruto glared at the man and pow! A left-handed body shot right into the Frenchman's stomach, making him lurch forward. Naruto then sent a right hook into the man's face, knocking several teeth out of his mouth. The Frenchman fell to his knees and he fell to the floor knocked out. TKO, the announcer yelled while the bell rang. The winner, Naruto Uzumaki, the announcer yelled as Naruto left the ring to be hugged by Lana and Jillian as he sent a smirk at the unconscious Frenchman while Lana removed his mouthguard. With the Griffins. What a rip, I paid $50 for these tickets, Peter yelled at the quick ending to the main event. I am so glad I took your advice and made a bet, Brian said to Ellie. And I'm happy Daddy gave me a ticket to come for free, Lois said with a sigh. Bah, I'm out of here. I can't stand the sight of these harlots any longer, Francis said angrily as he stomped away, having enough of dealing with Peter and everyone else. Wait for me, Dad, Peter yelled as he followed after his father. With Meg, Roberta, and Haley. Ha! He won instantly because his opponent talked trash about you, Meg said to Haley with a laugh, as they had been able to hear everything said due to the listening devices and privacy of their booth. You better reward him later, girl, Roberta said with a teasing grin at Haley. Haley smiled as she watched Naruto hold up his fist in victory. Oh, I definitely will, Haley said breathily as she gazed at him. With Naruto, Jillian, and Lana. The three headed to the back smiling as they walked to meet Carter in his private box, who had their payment for the night, seeing as he sponsored them. Ah, Naruto, my boy, you did fantastic, Carter said with a grin, and you made me some side money in a bet against Ted Turner, he said, even happier as he hated Ted Turner. Glad to hear it, boss, Naruto smiled. Call me Carter. After all, you're dating my granddaughter along with several other women, he said with a smirk. How'd you? Naruto was cut off. I'm rich and you live in my daughter's house. I keep tabs on all of the people there, he said nonchalantly. You're dating multiple women? Lana asked Naruto inquisitively. Hey, they set it up, not me, Naruto said, gesturing to the box Meg, Roberta, and Haley were in, across from them in the dome. Ooh, it sounds like fun. Is this part of the job? Jillian asked. No, that's not required, Naruto said, wanting to be clear. Awawa, Jillian whined as she pouted. If you really want him, you can talk to my girls, though, Naruto said, as he couldn't stand seeing her sad. It was like someone kicked a puppy or something horrible when she was. Yay, Jillian cheered before she hugged Naruto's arm. Now about your pay, my boy, Carter said as he took out a check. Naruto looked at the check and his eyes widened in shock. $200,000? Naruto exclaimed. You're in the big leagues now, my boy. I hope you go for the championship title here. When you win, so do I. Oh, and as for your escorts here, Carter said, producing two more checks for them. $75,000? Just for walking him out to the ring dressed like this? Lana exclaimed in shock. Only the best pay for the escorts for my guy, Carter said, as he also knew the money he just gave them was barely anything compared to his wealth or his company's. Is this a lot? Jillian asked curiously. Remind me to have Ellie do your bills for you, Naruto said. I have bills? Jillian asked confused. Thank God she's hot, Lana said after a minute of absorbing that. Well, I hope this means you will stay as a ring escort, Naruto said to Lana, glad she was happy with her pay. Are you kidding? You're stuck with me now, Lana said as she was not giving up this side income under any circumstances. Very good, I'll send you the information about your next match, Carter said with a nod at Naruto. Make sure they don't have a glass jaw next time. Third easiest knockout I've ever given, Naruto said with a smirk. Carter laughed at this and nodded as Naruto left with Jillian and Lana. So what do you want to do now? Jillian asked curiously. Well, I was gonna offer to take my girls and Meg's family out to dinner. You two want to go too? Naruto asked. Ooh, a group date? Sounds fun, Jillian said. What the hell I'm in, Lana shrugged as she had nothing better to do tonight. Later. Naruto decided to bring them all to a regular diner which thankfully had a big table for his group. Surprised you didn't go with something fancy, Brian said as he looked at the menu. I prefer restaurants like this, plus the food is way better, Naruto said. Hey, I'm not complaining. Food is food, Lois said with a smile due to Naruto offering to pay. Where's Peter? Naruto asked, curious where the man was. After the match, the old ghoul left, and he went after him, Ellie said. Ellie, what did I say about insulting the elderly? Naruto asked. Be creative if they're assholes, Ellie said boredly. Exactly, you can do better than ghoul, Naruto said with a nod. Try Bible-thumping fugwad, Meg grumbled. Meg, Lois shouted appalled at her daughter's language. Oh please, I heard you call him way worse, Mom, Meg rolled her eyes at her mother. True, Lois said after a moment of silence. That guy's really been on my last nerve lately, Naruto muttered as he was sick of the elderly man's bullshit. I say we tie him up and ship him to Iraq. Let's see him run his mouth there, Brian said. Naruto laughed at this. Someone get this dog a drink, he yelled to a waitress. Whose leg do I have to hump to get a dry martini around here? Brian asked the waitress. We don't sell alcohol here, sir. This is a diner, the waitress said after a moment of silence. I'll take a cola then, Brian sighed disappointedly. We can hit a bar later, sweetie, Ellie said to Brian. Wait, you two are dating? Meg asked surprised. Oh yay, I wanted to tell you, Brian. You hurt her, and I'll have you fixed, Naruto said with a slight glare at Brian. Noted, Brian said as he shuddered in fear. When you do that, I want a front row seat, Stewie said with a smirk at Brian. Before Brian could respond, Lois' phone started to ring. 1 second, everybody, she said as she answered the phone. Hello? She asked. Peter? Okay, slow down and explain. No, I don't care about the raccoon you saw. Just explain already, she said into the phone. After a few minutes, Lois sighed. I'm out at the moment with a family and some friends. You can deal with your dad on your own. Have fun with his bail money, Lois said. What that moron do? Naruto asked. My father-in-law or my husband? Lois asked. Both. I could use a laugh, Naruto shrugged. Meanwhile, Jillian was talking to Meg, Roberta, and Haley. So you three with Foxy there, right? Jillian asked curiously. Well, me and Meg are. Haley still needs to make it official, Roberta said with a smirk at Haley. He's taking me to concert tomorrow. Either he'll plow me there in a porta-john or I'll do him on my parents' bed afterwards, Haley said with an eye roll. Don't do that, your mom is cool, Meg said. She encourages it, Haley deadpanned. Meg and Roberta looked at Haley with surprise at this. Hi, your mom is a freak, Roberta said. You have no idea, Haley sighed, remembering all the crazy shit her mom did, sexual or otherwise. Like joining a frigging cult amongst other things. So teach you looking to join our club of love? Roberta asked Lana with a smirk. I'm your teacher, Miss Brown. It would be very inappropriate, Lana said as she took a bite of her steak. That's not exactly a deterrent, Roberta said. If anything, you made her want it more, Meg deadpanned. Lana said nothing as she looked at Naruto, who was talking to Lois and laughing from what she was saying was going on with Peter and Francis. Word of advice, teach. You want to get with him, then let him plow you on that desk or stick his face in your knockers during class, Roberta smirked. Okay, you're done, Haley said to Roberta as Lana blushed in utter shock from what was suggested. So can I join this club? Jillian asked Meg. It's more like a sisterhood, Haley said. Ooh, I never had sisters before. We can share makeup then, she said innocently. Well, if you actually like Naruto, I can see giving you a chance, Meg said with a smile. Yay, Jillian said before grabbing Naruto, who was still talking to Lois, and shoving her tongue down his throat immediately. Oh, I like her, Roberta said with a laugh at this. I'm calm. Totally calm, Haley muttered in definitely not jealousy as her eyebrow definitely didn't twitch at this blonde bombshell, who reminded her of her mother, kissing her crush before she had gotten a chance to do so. Wow, Meg muttered seeing the amount of tonguing from the ditzy blonde woman on display. Lana watched this and lightly glared at Jillian, trying to squash down her growing envy. Well, this is happening, it seems, Brian deadpanned. You get used to it, Ellie also deadpanned. Lois growled lightly as she watched this, which got Meg's attention. Oh, so you're into my man, huh, Mom? Well, now I'm gonna look forward to him breaking you too, Meg thought a little vindictively. She loved her mother truly, but it didn't change the crap her and her father did to her over the years. Chris was too distracted by the gravy in his mashed potatoes, and Stewie just didn't care what the meatbags at the table were doing. Jillian pulled away from the kiss with a smile. How was that, Foxy? She asked before seeing Naruto passed out in his plate due to lack of air from the heated kiss. I want tips, Roberta said with a smile at this while Jillian giggled. I'll take some as well, Haley said as she squashed her jealousy down to learn how to kiss like that. No problem, sisters, Jillian said with a bright smile. Would you like some tips, Lois? She asked innocently. Lois blushed a little at this before she ignored this as they all started to eat. Naruto's room. Naruto woke up after a long rest from his match last night. Despite it being a one-sided thrashing, he still did a lot of working out prior to the bout. Finally, you're up, it's past noon, Ellie said as she came upstairs holding a cup of coffee. Oh fuck, I need to get ready, Naruto sprung out of bed completely nude. Relax, you have a few hours before your date with Haley O, and here one of Carter's guys left this for you, Ellie said handing Naruto an envelope. Naruto took a look inside the envelope and smirked seeing it was 2 tickets and backstage passes for Poison playing in Quahog tonight. Wow, what that cost you? Ellie asked seeing the tickets and that there were some of the best seats. Nothing, I asked Carter for a favor and he made it happen, Naruto said surprised at the attached note saying it was free. Looks like dating Meg has perks, Ellie said with a chuckle as she finished her coffee. I think it was for getting him the money from his bet, rather than dating Meg, Naruto chuckled. Well, get dressed before someone checks on you and sees your hammer, Ellie told him with a flat tone. You asked Lois to come check on me, didn't you, Naruto deadpanned. I'm a dog, you moron, Ellie said with a roll of her eyes as she left downstairs. Huh, I'm sorry, Naruto said confused as usually she would do exactly that as a joke. Hey Naruto, you still alive up there, hello? Meg said as she poked her head inside and spotted Naruto naked. Damn it, Ellie, Naruto groaned as he should have known better. Oh, relax, it's nothing I haven't seen or ridden, Daddy, Meg said with a lusty smirk. Down girl, I have a date tonight, Naruto said with a chuckle as he put on his clothes. Oh darn, guess I'll just have to have some fun with you when you get home. Meg sighed in faux sadness. Who said I'm coming home? Naruto smirked. Meg paused before she smirked even more. Oh ho, you're gonna wreck Haley, huh? She asked with a knowing look in her eyes. I mean, I'd be a fool not to, Naruto said since Haley clearly wanted it. Good, she needs fun time after that hippie ex of hers, so give her a nice, long, hard time, Meg purred out. You have become a little tease since that night in the drive-in, Naruto deadpanned. What are you gonna do about it? Meg asked challengingly. Bend over on my bed now, Naruto growled out. Make me daddy, Meg smirked. Naruto growled as he approached Meg. Downstairs. Brian, Ellie, and Lois were in the kitchen eating some lunch when they started to hear some banging and the ceiling light was shaking. I'm not even surprised, Ellie deadpanned. Oh God, effing wreck me daddy, Meg's voice was heard shouting. He should get his own place soon. I don't think the attic floor can take it, Brian mused as he read his paper. Lois was silent as she listened to the shaking and her daughter's screams of orgasmic pleasure. It's worse for us. We hear the suction sounds and everything, Ellie said to her, thinking she was just distracted by how loud it was. MP3 player sweetie, Brian said with a smile as he held up his phone and showed he was wearing earbuds. Why didn't I think of that? Ellie said with a groan, as that was a good idea. Because you're just used to it. I'll buy you a pair when we go out tonight, Brian said simply while chuckling. Ellie smiled at this, glad Brian was being sweet to her. Don't you dare pull out. Give it to me, Meg was heard shouting. Ah, take it, Naruto was heard shouting before ethereal was science. Well, at least they are done, Brian said with a sigh. Give him a minute, that was a warm-up, Ellie said with a roll of her eyes, used to this from Naruto. They then heard music with bass playing as the ceiling shook even harder to the rhythm and beat. Lois said nothing as she scowled. Lucky Beach, she thought, immensely jealous of her daughter. A few hours later. It was 4 p.m. and Naruto was walking out of the house with a smirk of pride from the fact he left Meg in his bed and passed out, but that wasn't on his mind as he was dressed and ready for his date. He had on a pair of black jeans, a dark red shirt, black leather boots, and a black leather biker jacket as he walked over to Haley's house. Naruto knocked on the Smith family door and waited for someone to answer. The door then opened and Naruto saw Francine. Hello, Naruto, the mother smiled at her neighbor. Hey, Miss Smith. I'm here to pick up Haley, Naruto said with a smile of his one. Oh, so you're her date tonight? She was being tight-lipped about who she was going out with, Francine mused. She keeps secrets from you? Naruto asked, confused, as that didn't seem like Haley. Well, not me, Francine said with a side door, then opened more, showing Stan. You, Stan yelled angrily, recognizing Naruto. How's the jaw-ass chin? Naruto asked. Ha! Gotta remember that one, Roger laughed from his seat on the love seat, where on the table in front of him was a goldfish bowl with a goldfish inside. Wow, Stan, are you just going to take that? The goldfish asked with a German accent. Of course not, Klaus, I'm gonna kill this, Stan was shouting, but Francine cut him off. Stan, you will leave him alone. Haley is looking forward to this, and I refuse to put up with you pulling your CIA baloney, Francine said with a glare. I refuse to let my daughter date an immigrant, Stan growled. Okay, I'm a citizen, you idiot. I got my citizenship years ago, Naruto said with a glare. I don't believe you, Stan shouted. I don't care what you think, I don't value the opinion of a xenophobic sack of shit. So how about you take that little overprotective dad act and that gun of yours, shine 'em up real nice, and stick them right up your ass, Naruto said with zero fear. Stan growled at this as his face turned red. He was yelling before a dart hit him in the neck. Nice shot, Roger, Haley said with a smile as she came downstairs and saw Roger with a blow dart pipe. Oh shit, I was aiming for me. Sorry, Stan, and oh, he's out cold, Roger said. Well, I was about to crack his jaw anyway, but thanks for ending this without blood getting on my new jacket, Naruto said with a chuckle. Sure thing. Now, if you'll excuse me, Roger said as he walked over to Stan's body and took his wallet before heading upstairs. Only one card, Roger, Francine said with a chuckle as she had to admit this was funny, so it was worth maxing out one of Stan's credit cards. You ready to go, Haley? Naruto asked as he looked at her outfit. It was similar to her normal outfit, only her shirt was actually much shorter and tighter, exposing more of her belly as well as making her melons seem bigger. Her pants were replaced with a pair of tighter blue jeans, and she wore a black leather vest over her shirt. Yup, I'm ready, so what's the plan? Haley asked. Naruto smiled at this as he handed Haley the envelope Ellie gave him. Tickets to Poison? These have been sold out for weeks, Haley exclaimed with wide eyes. Well, my girl is a fan, so I called in a favor. Naruto chuckled. Oh, I'm your girl now, huh? Haley asked with a coy smirk. You are if you want your backstage pass, Naruto said, holding up 2 backstage passes with a smirk at her. The second, I want action, or talk dirty to me, plays you and I are gonna F, Haley said with no hesitation. Naruto chuckled at this as he and Haley left, leaving Francine with a blush on her face. Mean God, he's gonna wreck Haley, huh? Klaus asked. Lucky little beach, Francine muttered in jealousy. With Naruto and Haley. Naruto parked his new motorcycle in front of the concert hall as Haley disembarked. Still surprised you got an electric bike, Haley said as she took off her helmet and shook her hair. Well, I value your opinion, Naruto said with a smile at her, which she returned. My opinion is you and I aren't leaving this concert hall without us effing Haley. Babe, I reserved a hotel room, so let's just have fun here, then we can, Naruto was saying before he was cut off. Too bad. I have a fantasy of getting wrecked in port, a potty with the sun beating down on me, Haley said with a smirk at Naruto. It's night, Naruto said pointing at the sky. I'll settle for moonlight, Haley said with a shrug. Fine, but it better be a clean one, Naruto said conceding to Haley's demands. Let's go, Haley said, dragging him by his arm around the concert trying to find a clean port a John. 1 hour later. Not one effing clean toilet, Haley growled at her fantasy being denied. We still have the hotel room, Naruto told her. Fine, but I want you to do me just as hard as Roberta. Be as rough as possible. Shove my panties in my mouth, whatever you need to do to me, Haley said determinedly. All I need is you naked and ready to have the hardest F of your life, Naruto smirked as he reached his hand inside her jeans and groped her ass. Haley smirked at this as she pulled Naruto into a searing kiss. Let's just enjoy the concert and expect to hear these songs later tonight, Haley said after separating from the lip lock. Naruto nodded as he sat down in the grass with Haley to listen to the music before the two would head backstage for Haley and him to meet the band for a photo and autograph session. Later at a hotel. Naruto parked the bike in front of a nice hotel. This the same one you took Meg and Roberta to? Haley asked as they went inside. No, I got banned from that one after we broke the bed, couches, wall, and floor, Naruto chuckled. Haley paused at this as she didn't hear this part. Oh, you like to just take your women, don't you, stud? Haley purred. Naruto chuckled as he got his key from the front desk. You bet, now let's go play. Haley snatched the key from him. I'll go up and meet you there in 20 minutes. I want to get ready for my big strong stud, Haley said as she teased Naruto and kissed at his whisker marks. 20 minutes. Fine, but you won't be walking after I'm through with you, Naruto growled lustfully. That's what I want, stud, don't worry, Haley said with a smirk. In the hotel room. Haley was in the hotel room at a desk across from the bed and was fiddling with her phone. Okay, Meg, Roberta, Jillian, and oh what the hell Lockhart can watch too, Haley said with a smirk as she sent the links out to the private live stream she set up. I'll save Mom and Dad's stream for later, Haley chuckled evilly as the live stream started and saw the aforementioned women join the lobby. Haley smirked at the fact that Meg and Roberta were together Meg's room watching the stream. Get ready for the show. In 3, 2, 1, Haley said with a smirk into the camera. Naruto then entered the hotel room and slammed the door closed. All right, 20 minutes is up. Get that sexy ass over here, Naruto ordered as Haley stood up from the desk and sauntered over to him fully clothed. You used that 20 minutes to check your email? Naruto asked confused as that just seemed weird to him before they bang. Never you mind me and you have business, stud, Haley said as she pulled Naruto over to the bed before she took out her phone and tapped on it so some music would play. Play I Want Action by Poison. Haley ran her hands through her long black hair, flipping it a few times as she smiled back at Naruto. She leans into the desks as she wiggled her hips. She lightly bends down, shaking her butt hugged tightly by the tight blue jeans. She raises her back as her hands move through her hair as her hips continue to gyrate. Her hand claws at her left ass before she moves them to make her hands grip her jeans while she starts to bend downward, shaking her ass to her lover. As she twerks, she pulls down the jeans ever so slowly, exposing a tight light pink thong wedged up between her cheeks. She places her hands on the desk and once again begins her seductive dancing. She bends down again and again, pushing her butt forward before giving it a wild shake. She walks towards Naruto and bounces her tush right in his face before she stands up and pulled off her shirt, revealing her bare melons. Her hands go behind her back as she shakes her hips, causing them to bounce before turning her back once again to give her ass another sexy twerk. Damn, Naruto muttered as his hippie girlfriend moved her body to the beat of the song while his erection strained inside his jeans. Haley smirked at this before she shoved her ass directly onto his clothed crotch, grinding against it teasingly. Naruto groaned and growled at these actions. He didn't like being teased for too long, and it was taking all his willpower not to just start plowing her. Any requests, stud? Haley asked with a smile as she rubbed herself on his crotch. You have a mouth on you, let's see if that translates to shaft sugging, Naruto growled before he slapped her ass for emphasis. Haley shuddered in excitement. If there was one thing her past relationships gave her before they ended, it was the skill of being great at blowjobs. Haley moved her still thong-covered butt off his crotch and shoved it in his face while bending over to unzip his jeans. Smack! His large shaft sprung forth and hit her directly in the cheek, making her stare in shock at the size. Hearing about it and seeing it in person are two completely different beasts, of course. Naruto meanwhile growled, seeing her large ass in his face, yet still covered by cloth. You won't be needing this, he said as he ripped off her thong. Hey, I just bought those, be careful, Haley shouted as she felt them be torn off her and didn't want them ruined. You're lucky I don't shove them in your mouth. Now get sugging, I'm done playing, Naruto growled before he started to lick at her exposed kitty as if it were a lollipop. Haley moaned from this before she placed her lips over his massive shaft head and started to suck on his beach-breaking shaft, taking more and more quickly. However, due to her skill with blowjobs and experience, it wasn't long till she was deep-throating his shaft. Naruto groaned at this, not expecting her to be able to take him fully in her mouth that fast. Even if it still took her time, it was only a minute. 2 tops to take it all down her tight throat. Haley's skills at sugging Naruto off made him determined to please Haley, so he went back to Haley's kitty and stuck his tongue down it with vigor, searching for her weak point. He found it rather quickly when his tongue grazed a spot and made her shudder and pause what she was doing. Using this knowledge, he used his tongue to send a barrage of licks and grazes to her weak point in an overwhelming force of pleasure. Haley moaned at this before she growled and grabbed her breasts and wrapped them around his shaft and mashing them together in a tidfug blowjob combo. Naruto groaned as he smirked at Haley, getting competitive now, eh? Well, 2 can play at that game, Naruto said before he continued licking and used his left hand to pinch her clitoris. Haley's scream at this was muffled by Naruto's shaft in her mouth. Naruto smiled as he continued to lick and massage both her weak points, wanting to see the hippie girl juice her brains out for him. Haley pulled away from his shaft and panted for breath as she felt herself breaking and about to drip. Come on, give in, Naruto said to her before sending another pinch to her clit at the same time as a lick to her G-spot in her kitty. Never, I refuse to OF, Haley screamed as she climaxed hard, unable to stop her orgasm despite her best efforts. Her juices sprayed all over Naruto's face as she did as he finally wished and came her brains out right before him. Naruto smirked as he felt pride at the fact that he beat Haley. He then grunted as Haley spun around and straddled his hips. Haley reached behind her and gripped his shaft as she rubbed her kitty on his shaft. Do me a favor as you F me, Haley requested as she rubbed on his shaft a bit. What's that? He asked with a raised eyebrow as Haley grabbed her phone and switched the song. Talk dirty to me, she requested with a smirk as the song changed and she impaled herself on his shaft in one motion. Play Talk Dirty to Me by Poison. Haley grunted and smiled as she felt Naruto's shaft invade her depths, untouched areas none of her previous lovers ever even hoped of reaching. You can take it well. You're such a slut, Naruto grunted as he helped Haley bounce on his shaft. Only for you, stud, Haley purred out as she leaned forward and licked at his whisker marks. Naruto smirked at this before he grabbed her by the back of her head and proceeded to tank his tongue against hers in a hot and heavy makeout session as he pounded up into her twat while doing so. You're effing tight for a whore, Naruto grunted out after they stopped their tonguing. That's 'cause you're so big, Haley moaned out as her tongue hung out of her mouth, giving her the look of an unashamed slut. Bigger than that ex of yours? Naruto smirked. F my ex, you're my man, now defile me with your seed, damn it. Knock me up and piss off my dad. Haley growled out as she started to bounce even rougher on his shaft at the thought of her ex and angering her father out of spite. Holy shit, Naruto grunted, not expecting her ferocity. You like your new whore, don't you? Haley asked sweetly and giggling like crazy. Meg calls you daddy. Roberta calls you master. What do you want me to call you, stud? King? God? Emperor? Owner? She asked with her crazed giggle. Call me Whiskers makes me crazy when you call me that, Naruto growled as he felt his shaft throb ready to climax. Fair enough, Whiskers. Wreck your new mate, you foxy stud, Haley yelled out in crazed lust. Shit, Naruto grunted out as he climaxed hard inside Haley. Yes, Whiskers hot seed, filling me up. I feel complete, Haley shouted as she hit her own orgasm from his juice flooding her depths. With Meg and Roberta. Meg and Roberta were watching the stream while scissoring each other completely nude in Meg's bedroom. Gah, this isn't cutting it. You have a strap-on we can use? Roberta asked as she was more than willing to do this with Meg. Top drawer of the dresser, Meg said. Roberta fished out the strap-on and put it on. You go first, then you do me, Roberta said with a smirk as Meg smirked back at her. Make me feel something, ho, Meg sang out tauntingly as she gave her a come here motion with her finger. Roberta got onto the bed with Meg and pinned her down before she thrusted hard into Meg's kitty and started to pound away at her. The two unknowing of the door being slightly open and the eye of Lois peeking in and seeing the stream from the door from their laptop. With Jillian. Can't wait for Foxy to do this to me, Jillian moaned out while watching the stream and fingering herself on her couch. With Lockhart. I'm not enjoying this, Lana told herself as she was keeping it playing but not trying to touch herself. Ah, you're so deep, Whiskers, Haley yelled as Naruto was now on top of Haley jackhammering away at her. I do not have an interest in my student, Lana told herself, not even realizing her hand was going inside her skirt. You're gonna break me. Maybe I should invite Jillian or that teacher you want to F, Haley asked with a smirk at the camera. I'll get to them eventually. For now, though, you're my beach, Naruto roared as he came yet again inside Haley on camera for Lockhart to see. Lockhart moaned slightly at this as she thought about what it would be like if Naruto came into her office, throwing her against her desk, hiking up her skirt and thrusting in. No, he's a student. I can't do that. It would be immoral no matter how hot and sexy it would be as he bends me over and breaks me into his pathetic juice dumpster. Lana shook her head fervently, trying to deny it. Back with Naruto and Haley. Haley fell off Naruto's shaft onto the bed, panting heavily from her orgasm. That was incredible, Haley said, smiling wide. Phew, that was good for a first round, Naruto said as he crawled over to Haley and shoved his shaft back inside her kitty. Ah, you're an active stud, aren't you? Haley moaned out as Naruto thrusted his shaft inside her again and grabbed at her large swinging tits from his every thrust. And you're built for effing, Naruto grinned at her as he continued to thrust into her. Damn right, Haley moaned out with no shame as her and Naruto rutted like animals all night long. The next day, 5 a.m. Naruto and Haley woke up early as they had school in 2 hours, so they needed to get home and pick up Meg and Roberta as well as Naruto's car. I'm surprised I can even walk, Haley admitted as she got dressed in some fresh clothes that she had brought. I'll have to try harder next time, so you can't, I suppose, Naruto mused with a smirk. Looking forward to it, Haley said with her own smirk. Okay, let's get going, Naruto said as he threw on some fresh clothes. Can we pick up something to eat? I'm starving, Haley said as she had really worked up an appetite. Sure, let's hit up a McDonald's for breakfast, Naruto suggested as they needed quickly made food. Donuts too, Haley said with a smile. Ah, you have a sweet tooth, huh? Naruto chuckled. All right, let's get you some donuts, Naruto said as he opened the hotel door for her and slapped her ass as she walked out. Get the other cheek, Whiskers, Haley purred out as she pulled her pants down slightly to show her ass more skin-wise. Naruto chuckled at this before he smacked her other ass cheek before they left. Later with Meg and Roberta. Meg and Roberta were waiting outside Meg's house with satisfied smiles from their night of sex, though they both agreed Naruto was way better and would probably break both of them in a threesome. Not that they'd tell him, of course. It'd make him F them harder if they egged him on after all. Naruto and Haley pulled up on his new electric motorcycle in the driveway of the Griffin house before the two got into Naruto's car parked there. Meg and Roberta got into the backseat and smiled at Haley, who was smiling back at them. You two put on one hell of a show, Roberta said with a smirk. Huh? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. I may have recorded us going at it on a live stream and invited some people to watch it, Haley admitted as Naruto backed the car out of the driveway and started to drive to school. You didn't know? Meg asked Naruto. You are so bad, Naruto said to Haley with a shake of his head. Some people? Who else was in that? Roberta asked as she and Meg were too busy banging to look at others in the chat. Jillian and a certain teacher our man lusts for, Haley said with a smirk. Lockhart was watching? Naruto asked, surprised at that tidbit. Yup, so don't be surprised if she begs you to take her on her desk, Haley said with a giggle at Naruto, who bit his lip at the thought of doing that. Want one of us to take care of that before class, Daddy? Meg asked, seeing his boner in his pants. Naruto growled as he parked in a parking lot and put up the roof of his car. Oh no, Daddy's gonna discipline all three of us in his car, Meg giggled before releasing a choking sound as Naruto grabbed her by her head and shoved her open mouth on his shaft. We only have time for a blowy job, so you two can either watch or help her suck it, Naruto growled at Roberta and Haley. Haley and Roberta licked their lips as they waited their turns to suck him off. James Woods High School. Lockhart sat at her desk as Naruto and his girls entered the classroom, stiffening up at the sight of Naruto after having seen the stream yesterday. Naruto looked at her and sighed as he looked at Haley, who was walking past the door and heading to her class. Lockhart looked at Haley, who winked at her before she left. She didn't tell him that I was watching beforehand, Lockhart thought in realization before she squashed it down and began class. 3 days later. It had been a hectic 3 days around the Griffin household. Peter had gotten his dad a job at the toy factory where he became a manager immediately. Unfortunately, he was making all the workers' lives hell with his overbearing religious attitude and his low tolerance for bullshit in the workforce. Unfortunately, even the factory's good employees were being driven crazy by his ridiculous expectations. It all came to a head yesterday, however, where Francis fired his own son for standing up to him. And this morning Peter was eating breakfast mad at losing his job. I regret ever getting him that job, Peter said, upset. I regret ever meeting the guy, Naruto whispered to Brian, who snickered. Well, maybe this can be a chance to get a better job, honey, Lois said, trying to cheer Peter up. A better paying job, eh? That's it, Peter said before he left the house immediately. What are the odds he's gonna do something stupid? Naruto asked Lois. 1 in 1.5, Meg said as she ate a bagel. All right then. We should probably get to school, Naruto said, as he did not want to be around for when Peter did something crazy. Oh, Naruto, Daddy left this for you. It's information about your next fight, Lois said, handing Naruto a file. Chuck Cunningham? Naruto said before reading the file. Oh, he's in the heavyweight championship division for Quahog. If I knock him out, I'll be a few bouts away for a title match, Naruto. This one pay enough to get us a place of our own? Ellie asked curiously. Oh, definitely, so I'll look into finding a place, and yes, nearby, Naruto said to Meg with a smile. Good. Wouldn't want to travel far to see you with no car, Meg smirked as they got up to leave. Is this your way to hint at wanting a car? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. I mean, I wouldn't say no to it. I do have a birthday coming, Meg said with a smirk before seeing Naruto's phone buzz and him look at a text. Which of us Beaches is that? Meg asked, smirking. You're not my Beaches, and it was Jillian. She wants me to help her with something tonight after school, Naruto said. Ah, she wants a turn, huh? Meg smirked. No, she said she needs help moving a couch out and a new one inside her apartment, Naruto chuckled. And if she makes a move on you? Meg asked with a knowing smile. Oh, I'll be tearing her holes up. No question, Naruto said with a smirk. Good, she's a good person. Dumb as my dad, but a good person, Meg said. You know, we can literally hear this whole conversation, right? Brian asked as they hadn't left the kitchen table yet and had this whole talk in front of him, Ellie, and Lois. Sorry, Naruto chuckled sheepishly as him and Meg left. Frigging lucky little Beaches, Lois growled under her breath as she was cleaning dishes. We can hear you, whoa, Ellie yelled as Lois threw a plate near her head, which missed and shattered against the wall. Well, Brian, we should go. We have that thing at that place, Ellie said quickly as she grabbed her boyfriend and ran out the kitchen with him to get away from the angry housewife. After school. Naruto drove his 3 girlfriends home before he and came upon a peculiar sight at the Griffin asked. "Why is there a Popemobile parked in front of the house?" Roberta asked, seeing a parked car in front of the house. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this, and after thinking for a moment he groaned, "Oh, for fuck's sake." "What?" Haley asked, wondering what happened. "Fatass kidnapped the Pope?" Meg asked with a knowing look. Most likely, Naruto sighed before the front door opened and the Pope walked out with an angry and annoyed look on his face. "Holy shit, it's really the Pope," Roberta shouted in shock without thinking. "Roberta," Naruto said as he shook his head, as while he may not be overly religious, he still somewhat respected others for their beliefs. "Oh, sorry," Roberta said with a slight bow of her head at the Pope. "It's fine, my child, after meeting that man your accidental rudeness is forgiven," the Pope said. "The obese one or the old one?" Naruto asked curiously. "Both actually, though I respect the obese one for going this far to have his father accept him," the Pope admitted. "PFFT, even the Pope has no tolerance for that old ghoul," Meg said with a chuckle. The Pope looked at Naruto. "You look familiar, my son. Do I know you?" the Pope asked. "Well, I just broke out into the heavyweight league of boxing, so you probably saw me in the news," Naruto said, figuring that's where the Pope saw him. "I recognize you now. You were in Japan's independent boxing circuit a few years ago. You had a bout against Jin Mushimo that you won by knockout," the Pope said, now recognizing Naruto from his boxing career. "The Pope is a boxing fan?" Roberta asked, finding this weird. "It is not a sin to enjoy competition or sportsmanship, my child. The Colosseum in Rome held many gladiatorial battles, yet also held religious plays performed. While boxing may be violent, it is still a competition that should be respected by those who enjoy it," the Pope answered with a kind smile. "So you need a ride back to your hotel?" Naruto asked with a smile, liking that the Pope of all people was defending his career. "Would you please? The obese one took me from a parade I was in to come here, and the parade was several cities over," the Pope said. This got flat looks from everyone. "Meg, your dad is a moron," Haley said with a deadpan look at Meg. "Preach," Roberta said with a nod. "You're not wrong," Meg admitted. By the door Lois heard this. "They're not wrong," she muttered, as this was incredibly stupid on Peter's part. Now Lois at least tries to rein him in," Naruto defended the housewife. "That woman will be getting a prayer from me to God, so she has the strength to deal with those two," the Pope said, not even caring she wasn't Catholic. Naruto nodded in agreement at this. "I'll drive you back to your parade." "Do you need to call any of your security so they don't think I kidnapped you?" Naruto asked. "Yes, I hired that old man as a member of my security team, so I suppose I should warn them," the Pope said with a sigh. "I believe in God now," Meg said after she let it sink in that the Pope pretty much just freed them from her grandfather's stupidity. Word of advice for when he goes too far and needs to be let go: he has an obsession with working despite his age, to the point he broke into his old job, from what Lois told me. "I recommend finding him a new job before firing him to save you the trouble of him hunting you guys down to work," Naruto suggested as he opened the passenger door to his car for the Pope. "Thank you, my child, I will make a note of that. Do not worry about the Popemobile. Francis will be driving it out of here for me," the Pope said. Naruto nodded at this before he drove off with the Pope, leaving his 3 girls alone. "So who wants to cut the brakes on that thing?" Roberta asked, pointing at the Popemobile. "Don't tempt me," Meg said as she would do it, and then saw her mom come outside the house with a pair of wire cutters. "We see nothing," Haley said with a smirk as her, Meg, and Roberta went inside the house. 16 years of dealing with this bullshit," Lois muttered as she walked over to the Popemobile. Later with Naruto. After dropping off the Pope, Naruto headed over to Jillian's while Quahog's radio station was having a news report. And in local news, Francis Griffin, newly made security team member of the Pope's security force, died in a tragic accident while moving the Pope's Popemobile. He was unable to stop at a red light, and the Popemobile went shooting down several roads and streets until it crashed into the local morgue. Francis died instantly 3 feet away from the mortician, the radio host said. Naruto stopped the car in a parking lot at this and went inside the gas station to buy a lottery ticket because he didn't think he would have this kind of luck again before throwing it in his glove box and continuing to Jillian's apartment complex. Naruto parked his car and headed up the elevator. He soon approached Jillian's door and knocked. "Come in, I'm in the shower," Jillian called out from inside her apartment. Naruto opened the door and saw the apartment was actually rather nice, as well as the couch that supposedly needed to be moved. "This couch looks brand new." So she wanted me alone, huh?" he thought as he chuckled inwardly, not expecting this from her. "Naruto, is that you?" Jillian yelled from inside the shower. "Yeah, it's me. I thought you needed help moving this couch," he questioned with a smirk. "I did. The people at the store took my old one away and dropped off the new one for some extra since you were taking too long," Jillian said. "So you don't need me?" Naruto questioned, while also blaming Peter for keeping him from helping due to his kidnapping the frigging Pope. "Well, I wouldn't say that," Jillian said with a giggle as the water shut off. Naruto smirked at this as he entered the bathroom, seeing Jillian wrapped up in a towel. "Hey Foxy, there is another reason I asked you here," Jillian admitted. "This have anything to do with that show Haley and me put on for you?" he asked with a smirk. "Oh, I forgot about that," Jillian admitted as she moved the towel from her body to her hair, not even realizing she was giving Naruto a full view of her nude body. Naruto looked at Jillian and liked what he saw. "I actually just wanted to see if you wanted to watch a movie with me tonight," Jillian said, still not realizing she was completely flashing him everything. "I'm sure we can watch a movie," Naruto said, deciding not to take advantage of her. Jillian smiled at this before she spotted the tent in Naruto's pants. "Perfect. I have a DVD for us to watch on that new couch. Go ahead and get comfortable, Foxy," she told him as she threw the towel in the hamper, walked out completely nude, and sat on the new couch. "I cannot tell if she's doing this on purpose or just not aware of what she's doing," Naruto muttered to himself as he sat down next to Jillian. Jillian grabbed the remote for the TV only for it to not turn on. "Huh?" she questioned as she stood up, walked over to her large TV, and bent over to see if she could manually turn it on. Naruto growled as he wasn't sure how much of seeing her nude body he could take while restraining himself. "Ah, there we go," Jillian said as she turned on the TV and jumped happily, making her ass bounce right before his eyes, before she came back to the couch. Naruto groaned at this as he felt his erection in his pants get worse and strain against his pants. "I'll go make us some popcorn. Get comfy, Foxy," Jillian said happily. "I would be comfy balls deep in you," Naruto thought as he watched Jillian go into the kitchen before he had an idea. "She wants me comfy, huh? I can get comfy," he thought as he started to take off his own clothes and sat back down on her couch once he was fully nude. "Okay, I have popcorn for wow." Jillian dropped the bowl of popcorn in shock at seeing Naruto's massive erection. "You said to get comfy," Naruto smirked as he gestured for her to sit down next to him. If she was teasing him, then he'd tease her back. He just wasn't sure if she was doing it in purpose. "Oh wow, I didn't expect this. My harem sisters said this would end with you just taking me, not you teasing back," Jillian said with a giggle. "Okay, that's it," Naruto yelled after realizing it was her genuinely teasing him, and stood up and picked her up in a caveman carry. Jillian squealed in excitement as Naruto picked her up and carried her into her bedroom before he threw her on the bed. "I was being nice cause I thought you weren't aware what you were doing, but now I'm gonna effing wreck you," Naruto growled at her. "Please do, Foxy. I heard playing this game with you is a lot of fun," Jillian giggled before she moaned as Naruto gripped her melons. "You have sensitive melons, don't you?" Naruto smirked down at the blonde he was groping. "Yes, even the slightest breeze on them makes me go crazy," Jillian admitted through her moan. Naruto smirked evilly at this before he leaned forward and gripped her melons before he started to lick and sug on them. Jillian immediately screamed after he started this. Not moaning. Screamed loudly from the pleasure. "I've been wanting to do this since you kissed me at the diner. You knocked me out with that kiss, but let's see what I can do to you now," Naruto said before he lightly bit one of her nipples he was sucking on. "Ah, most guys just start doing me. I have never felt anything like this," Jillian moaned out. "Well, that ain't fair to you, but don't worry. From today onward, I'll suck on these whenever you need me to, Naruto said with a teasing smile as he licked at her nipples. Will you make me juice? I've never gotten to during sex cause guys never last long, Jillian pouted. I swear I will do whatever I need to for you to finally juice baby, Naruto said. I want you to do me hard and pull my hair, Jillian said with an excited smile. Can do, but first, Naruto said before he straddled her stomach and shoved his hot shaft in between her melons. I want to see if I can make you drip from a tidfug with how sensitive you are. He smirked at her as he held her melons around his shaft by gripping her nipples. Do it, Foxy, Jillian moaned as she bit her lip and smirked at him before she screamed as she felt him start to thrust into her large, sensitive melons, the heat from his shaft, his grip on her melons, and the movements of her melons already sending her over the edge. Your past partners must have been utter shit in bed if I can get you off this quick, Naruto said in surprise at how quick she was losing it. Jillian panted helplessly at this as she felt herself reaching the edge. Just let it happen, sweetie, Naruto grunted as he felt his own climax coming since he was going rough and hard on her tids while wanting to juice after she did since she needed the release more than him. Ah! Jillian screamed as she let loose, her juices spraying from her kitty all over her bed in a fierce squirting. F! Naruto roared as he let his own release go, spraying his thick juice all over her face and melons. Jillian panted for breath from her orgasm before she looked at Naruto. Wow, she panted out with hearts in her eyes. Now that the warm-up's done, you ready for the main event? Naruto asked. You bet, Foxy. Let's wreck the bed, Jillian exclaimed before bending her legs next to her head and using her hands to spread her kitty apart for him. Naruto growled at this before he threw himself on top of Jillian and grabbed her legs for leverage before he thrusted hard into her. Holy shit, you're way tighter than the others. Naruto groaned out in shock that her cunt was tighter than a virgin's. You gonna give up, Foxy? Jillian asked with a teasing smirk like the other girls told her to do. Oh hell no. I ain't stopping till I make you agree to be my personal big melon's juice-a-dump. Naruto groaned as he started to thrust into her. You mean I'm not yet? Jillian asked curiously before she yelled as his thrust slammed into her most sensitive spot in an instant, making her large melons swing into her face and covering it in more of Naruto's juice from before. Until you say it, then no. Naruto grunted as he reached a hand to her hair and pulled it upward, making her look at him in the eyes. Wanna say it? He grinned. I'm your juice-a-dumpster, Foxy, she shouted. Louder, let the whole city of Quahog know, Naruto ordered her as he slammed particularly rough against her G-spot. Ah, I'm your juice-a-dumpster, Foxy. I'll get done by you whenever you need. I'll even come to the school and do you whenever you want, Foxy. Jillian shouted again with no shame and the hearts in her eyes growing even bigger. The others trained you well in how to be a little slut, Naruto smirked. I'm self-taught, Foxy. Now paint my insides white, Jillian shouted as she climaxed on his shaft. Effing take it, you dumb whore, Naruto roared as he fired his load inside her. Naruto fell forward and fell into Jillian's melons, who was panting along with him for breath. You don't really think I'm dumb, do you? Jillian asked with a small frown as she looked at him. Naruto shook his head at this. You may not be as smart as other people, but you're fine as you are. If you'd prefer, I'll never say that again, he said as he kissed her melons softly in apology. Call me your bimbo, that at least sounds sexy, Jillian said with a smile. Fair enough, my beautiful bimbo juice-a-dump, Naruto said with a chuckle and another kiss to her melons. Jillian smiled at this. Do you want to use your bimbo juice-a-dump some more, Foxy? She grinned at him. Naruto grunted as he started to thrust again, filling the room with moans and screams throughout the night. The next day, Naruto and Jillian were driving to the Griffin house as Jillian wanted to join him for a drive before he headed to school. Definitely not because she wanted to blow him before his classes. That would be ridiculous. Hey babe, Roberta said as Naruto parked in the driveway to pick her, Meg, and Haley up. Hey, what's going on? Naruto asked as he let the three girls in the car. Fat ass is mad he didn't win the lottery. He was hoping to be able to bury Grandpa in a decent cemetery, but now he's gonna sneak into a pet cemetery to bury him, Meg shrugged. Also, why didn't you tell us Jillian was in the car? Haley said from the front seat, seeing Jillian on her knees between Naruto's legs. Yeah, she's a little greedy, Jillian, take a break, Naruto told her. Awa, but I wanted to swallow more juice, she whined. I'll take you shopping later, Naruto told her. Yay, you can do me in a changing room, Jillian cheered. Roberta and Meg laughed at this as she got into the back seats. Haley rolled her eyes at this but chuckled. So who won the lottery? She asked Meg curiously. No one knows yet. Winning numbers were 27, 56, 14, 30, and 9 inches. Meg shrugged. Naruto paused before he immediately opened the glove box where he placed his lottery ticket yesterday and looked at it. Holy shit, Naruto said in shock. What's up? Meg asked curiously. After your grandpa's tragic death, I got a lottery ticket before seeing Jillian. I won, Naruto said in shock. This got silence from everyone. Meg, how much was this lottery for? Haley asked, wanting to know. $80 million, Meg said wide-eyed. Holy crap, you know what this means? Roberta asked in awe. Foxy can buy us so much edible underwear, Jillian cheered. I'm gonna buy a ramen restaurant, Naruto cheered. No you're not, Haley said with a firm tone. I'm gonna buy a vegan ramen restaurant, Naruto haggled. Nice try, Haley said with a chuckle. Buy a house first, Meg said with a smile. Well girls, I guess after school let's go house hunting, Naruto said. Ooh, can you do us in some of the houses we look at? Jillian asked innocently. What the hell did you do to her yesterday? Roberta asked Naruto, not expecting Jillian to be hornier than even her. I flipped her switch, I suppose, Naruto shrugged with a chuckle as they drove to the high school while Jillian would hang out in the city for today till they were done. Quahog, Rhode Island. 3 p.m. After Naruto, Haley, Meg, and Roberta finished their classes for the day, they met up with Jillian to cash in Naruto's lottery ticket of $80 million, stored a majority of it in Naruto's account, picked up Ellie, and started to go house hunting. Please tell me you're not gonna get some gaudy mansion, Haley said from her seat in the back of Naruto's car. Not my style. Wouldn't mind a big house, though, with lots of space, Naruto chuckled. I'm cool with you getting anything, just make sure you get a stripper pole, Roberta told him with a smirk before her and Meg high-fived. I promise I'll get a decent stripper pole for you, babe, Naruto grinned at her. Good cause me and Blondie can give you a hell of a routine, Roberta smirked, gesturing at Jillian. Any other requests? Naruto asked his girls. Pool please, Haley said with a smile as she missed the pool from when they lived in Langley Falls. The one at her house here was okay, but was slightly smaller. It was the only thing they couldn't bring with them when the house itself was moved, since it was an in-ground pool. Hot tub, Meg suggested. Good ideas, Naruto said with a smile before he looked at Jillian. Any requests? He asked. How about a table with those strap thingies? Jillian suggested with an innocent smile. I'm not doing that 50 Shades of Grey crap, Naruto said with a shudder. I don't think she meant anything that extreme, babe, Meg said with a nervous grin. What's 50 Shades of Grey? I thought grey was just grey, Jillian asked with a head tilt. Never you mind now, who wants to go house hunting? Naruto asked his girls, hoping to change the subject. My mom's a realtor, you know, Haley said with a smirk, knowing her boyfriend checked her out. I did not, Naruto admitted. If your girlfriends and her mom are looking for this with you, why do you need me? Ellie asked from her seat in the back. 'Cause it'll be your house too, and you have a say, Naruto said simply. I'd like a decent yard, Ellie said as she loved to run. Even more so now that she was dating Brian. All right. Haley, tell your mom we're interested in seeing any houses she has available on or close by Spooner Street, Naruto chuckled. Haley nodded at this as she texted her mom. So your dad is okay with her working? Roberta asked Haley. He doesn't know she is. Dumbass has to commute to the CIA, so he'll spend days at a facility if needed and even weeks if he's out in the field. I once went an entire summer with him gone. Figured he was in some communist prison or something. Haley shrugged as her dad was a moron in and out of the field. Naruto nodded in agreement at this as he drove his car. Later. Haley, Naruto, other girls whose names I don't know super well, Francine greeted from the front of the Smith house. Meg, Roberta, and Jillian, Naruto said, pointing out each girl. Ellie coughed. Oh, I know you, Ellie dear. Such a good dog, Francine said with a smile as she pet Ellie. Oh, I love these pets, Ellie moaned out as Francine's fingers were magical on her fur. Anyways, you wanted a place of your own close by to my daughter? Francine said with a smile. Absolutely, I have the money after that lottery win, so might as well use it. You're the one who won that? How'd you even get a ticket? You're 16 inches, Francine said with a raised eyebrow. 17, and I am emancipated as well as have a few perks from Mayor West for doing a favor for him. Naruto explained. Well, don't let fat ass know. He's mad he lost after buying over 100 tickets, Roger said with a wave at Naruto as he sat on the couch in the Smiths' living room. Roger, Francine yelled, seeing he wasn't in a disguise. Mrs. Smith, I already met him. Remember? Naruto said as when he took Haley on a date, he watched Roger knock Stan out. Yeah, but he was in a disguise then, plus, I didn't tell her you knew Babe, Haley said with a chuckle. Babe? Francine asked curiously as Haley never used nicknames with her dates, especially one used by one of her exes on her. I'll punish you later, Naruto told her with a sigh before he lightly smacked Haley on the ass. Haley playfully growled at this, making Naruto chuckle. Francine paused at this, slightly jealous, and Roger was? Well, Roger was eating popcorn from the couch watching this like a TV show. Anyway, Haley said you're a realtor, so I figured I should ask you first, Naruto said with a smile as he turned to Francine. Sure thing. Let me just get my blazer. Francine said, Steve, I have a client to show a house to. You're in charge till I get back. Don't let Klaus sniff any glue again, Francine yelled upstairs. On it. Break a leg, Mom, Steve yelled back. It was one time, Klaus yelled from his bowl. And we still have nightmares, Razor, Roger said flatly. That was me on coke, Klaus said in defiance. And also on glue, Roger yelled back. Naruto shook his head at this, and as he did he spotted Lana outside jogging down the street. As she was jogging past the Griffin's neighbor's house, he saw something that made his blood boil. He saw Lana suddenly drop from a tranquilizer fired into her neck and Quagmire step outside his house. All right, he grinned. Oh hell no, Naruto growled as he walked outside. Meg, Roberta, Haley, and Jillian spotted this and scowled. Leave Mark's stud, Roberta yelled as she took out her phone to record this. What's going on? Francine asked as she stepped outside wearing a red blazer as she approached the girls and Ellie. Naruto's about to beat the literal shit out of Mr. Quagmire, Meg said. Francine nodded at this. Roger, Steve, want to come watch an asshole get beat up by your sister's boyfriend? Francine shouted upstairs. Is it Stan? Roger asked with a disguise of a blue shirt, blonde wig, and black jeans and holding Klaus's bowl in his hands. Nah, it's El Rapio, Roberta smirked. Ugh, that guy, get out the cameras, Klaus said. Which asshole's getting beat up? Is it Dad? Steve asked as he walked down the stairs and joined them. Quagmire, Meg said simply as she texted her mom what was about to happen since she hated Quagmire more than anyone else on the street. The guy who we found sneaking in our trash and taking Mom and Haley's thrown out underwear? Steve asked. He what? Haley yelled out in a rage. Yeah, you were at school when it happened, Roger said as only him and Francine were home for that. Steve only found out recently. Haley growled before she grabbed a crowbar and followed Naruto. Should one of us stop her? Steve asked. No, don't come back, Francine said flatly as she fake-begged her daughter from unleashing righteous justice. With Naruto. Naruto walked over to Quagmire's house, as he was walking over and proceeding to drag Lana into his house before, without any warning, Naruto punched him in the nose, breaking it and sending him to the ground. Ah, my nose. What the hell? Quagmire yelled in pain as every neighbor on the street came out to see the communion occurring. What the hell? Peter asked as he was going to head over to check on his friend, but Lois pulled him back from doing so. You know something, Glenn? I had heard rumors about you, and this just gives me the proof I need to do this without any guilt. Naruto said as he cracked his neck. Whoa, what the hell is going on? Joe said as he wheeled over. Joe, arrest this asshole for aggravated assault, Quagmire groaned in pain. You want assault? I have your assault, asshole, Haley growled as she approached with a crowbar. Everyone calm down. What the hell is happening? Joe demanded. Joe, Quagmire drugged that woman lying on the ground and was gonna rape her, Lois said as she walked over and pulled out her phone showing Meg's texts, explanations, and a video of what had happened. Joe looked at the phone and sighed. Glenn, we talked about this, he said with a firm tone. What are you gonna arrest me? Quagmire yelled angrily. I'm a cop and I have to, so don't try to hey. Joe yelled as Quagmire grabbed a stick and threw into Joe's wheel, stopping him from giving chase. But before Glenn could move again, Haley smacked him in the back of his head with her crowbar. Anyone have a problem? Naruto asked everyone who had surprised looks at Haley's actions. Yeah, I do. You're not even giving him the chance to defend himself, Peter yelled, trying to defend his best friend. That's what court is for, you fat retard, Haley said with a roll of her eyes. Haley's lucky she got to him first to knock him out. I don't think I would have been able to control my actions if she hadn't, Naruto said, gnashing his teeth in pure rage. Relax, babe. I wanted to do that as soon as I found out he dug through our trash for mine and Mom's underwear, Haley. He what? Naruto asked with a calm tone, but everyone knew he was furious. Just found out, Haley admitted. Technically, I have to arrest you two as well for assault and vigilantism, Joe said as he pulled the stick out his wheelchair. Actually, Joe, technically, they were assisting a cop in a citizen's arrest, Brian said. Joe paused at this before he sighed and nodded at this. Nice save, Naruto said to Brian with a nod of respect. Trust me, no one aside from Lois has more reason to want him gone or jailed than me, Brian said, waving it off. He wasn't gonna let anybody get arrested for stopping a rapist if he could help it. Joe wheeled over and cuffed Quagmire before he threw him in his cop car and drove down to the police station. Naruto meanwhile walked over to Lana and picked her up bridal style before carrying her over to the Smith's house. Francine, would you mind if we have her rest in your guy's house? I don't trust Meg's dad to not try and pull some shit, Naruto asked politely. Absolutely, follow me, she can use my bed, Francine said as she led Naruto to her room. Damn girl, you have a mean swing, Roberta said to Haley, seeing the blood on her crowbar. Thanks, but give me a sec. Roger, Haley said, walking over to the disguised alien. What do you need, Haley? Roger asked. That perverted jackass is gonna pull some shit for getting out till his trial. I know it. I want you to make him leave the state, Haley said. Any limits? Roger asked with a smirk, liking the look in Haley's eyes. Hell no. Go nuts. If there's a body, make sure it's hidden, Haley said with a nod at the alien. Roger smiled at this. Steve, I need some plastic, a ski mask, a key saw, and a boombox, he yelled to Steve. Hip to be squared? Steve asked with a shudder as he had an idea what Roger was gonna do. You know it, Beach, Roger exclaimed in glee. Do I want to know? Meg asked Haley as they watched Steve and Roger go upstairs. You do not, Klaus answered instead of Haley. Even I know that Roger will get results, Jillian said with a smile. Oh, you bet your sweet ass he will, Haley said simply with a vicious grin on her face. You are so hot now, Roberta said with a smirk. Naruto came back down with a frown on his face. Is she okay? Jillian asked curiously. Yeah, she'll wake up later. I'm gonna stay with her till she wakes up, Naruto said to his girls. We'll house hunt after she's okay, he said as the girls nodded and joined him, waiting for the woman to awaken. Later that night with Quagmire. Quagmire walked into his house with a scowl as she slammed his door after paying his bail. Fucking whiskered white knight and his hippie beach, he growled. Before he could say anything else, someone grabbed him from behind and covered his mouth with a cloth covered in chloroform. When Quagmire fell to the floor, it was revealed to be Roger with a ski mask on. Ha ha, all right. Yeah, that doesn't fit me, the alien said before he dragged Quagmire to a chair. Quagmire awoke an hour later, gagged by duct tape and bound to a chair, as he looked at a man in a ski mask grin at him holding a rusty key saw. The man clicked a button on a nearby boombox. Plastic littered around Glenn Quagmire's home. The only thing filling the room were the busting and loud sounds of hip to be square. Glenn sat helplessly in a chair, his arms behind his back and his feet tied to chair legs, a strip of duct tape slapped across his mouth. Meanwhile, Roger was dancing like a fool, shaking his booty and hips as he laid several bits of surgical equipment out on the floor with a carving knife in hand. He smiled at Glenn, who had a look of fear in his eyes as he moved around the bound rapist, doing a cute little tip before bouncing his hips. Now I'll only take one kidney, but if you stay in the state and don't leave within 3 days, I'll hunt you down and take the other. Matter of fact, maybe you should leave the country. 'Cause no matter where you go, I will hunt you down and take that other kidney. Whether it's Thailand or Korea, I can find you easily, Roger said as he danced around his soon-to-be victim. Nothing was heard from Quagmire's house except the song Hip to be Squared on repeat, which drowned out Quagmire's muffled bitch-ass screams. The next day, Naruto was in his room getting ready for the day since he was meeting with Francine to go house hunting along with Lana, who was feeling better, but didn't want to be left alone by any of the people who rescued her from a horrid fate. Suddenly, he heard his door open and Peter make his way into the attic. "You son of a beach!" Peter yelled angrily. "I invited you into my home, shared my food, let you date my house cat, and this is how you repay me," Peter yelled angrily at Naruto. "Okay, first of all you call Meg that again, and I'll do to you what I did to Quagmire, and what's your problem? He was a rapist," Naruto yelled back at the fat bastard. "He's moving to Korea," Peter yelled in a rage. "I didn't expect that," Naruto said with a raised eyebrow as he wondered what scared him that bad. "My best friend is moving away, and it's all your fault," Peter yelled before he took a wild swing at Naruto's face. It connected, and did nothing. "Bad move, fat boy," Naruto growled as he cracked his neck. Kitchen. Lois was humming a jaunty tune as she stirred a pot of stew she was making for dinner that needed to cook all day. She was incredibly happy that the man who constantly hit on her, dug through her trash, and at one point even spied on her from a bathroom ceiling was now moving away. Suddenly the ceiling burst apart and, "Kiniku Buster," Naruto yelled as he slammed Peter headfirst into the kitchen table as he and Peter fell through the hole. "What the hell?" Lois yelled, seeing Naruto drive her husband into her table head first. "Lois, he's a madman. He used a old anime technique on me," Peter groaned from the floor. "You took the first swing, fat boy. I was minding my damn business till you came stomping and trying to defend a rapist," Naruto yelled. "Oh, for fuck's sake, Peter," Lois yelled angrily at her husband. "He was innocent. Why won't anyone believe me?" Peter yelled. "'Cause you're a brain-dead moron, and there are multiple witnesses," Naruto said with a glare. "Exactly, Peter. Now get up and get to work. Better yet, stay there till you realize Quagmire was horrible," Lois ordered. Peter scowled at this as he glared at Naruto. "Please make a move, I have plenty of stamina to crack your fat head open," Naruto growled. "Naruto, you calm down as well. I don't want any more holes in the house," Lois said firmly. Naruto paused at this and looked up at the hole. "Ah shit," he said as he took out his checkbook and wrote on a check before handing it to Lois. "Sorry, Lois. This should cover the damage, and I'll even help repair it if you want," he said, handing her the check. "Thanks, and don't worry about it, it's Peter's fault," Lois said. Naruto nodded at this as he left through the side door to go meet Francine but stopped. "Can I ask you a question?" Naruto asked the housewife after Peter left for work. "You just did, but go ahead," Lois said with a smile. "Heh, forgive me if this is personal, but what did you see in him?" Naruto asked in regards to Peter. Lois sighed at this. "Young love is sometimes stupid, I'm afraid." She admitted as she loved how sweet Peter was in their youth, but now after they had a family for so long that love eroded away. Naruto sighed at this. "Well, if you ever want to dump him, I can hire a lawyer for you," he said, willing to help. "I have one on standby hired by Daddy," Lois said, waving her hand dismissively. "How good?" Naruto asked curiously. "He got a Karen to admit she was wrong," Lois smirked. "Oh, fat ass is screwed," Naruto said with a grin and a laugh as he left. Lois looked at him leave before sighing. "Is it really worth staying with Peter anymore?" she asked herself softly before she pulled out a piece of paper and a pencil and started to make a pros and cons list. After a few moments the con side was blank, while the pros side was very long in regards to leaving Peter fully. Lois sighed at this. "I should speak to someone neutral first," Lois said as she put the list in a drawer and decided to hold off for now. With Naruto. Naruto was making his way to the Smith home, but he paused and saw Francine in her blazer in front of Quagmire's house with a new for sale sign. "Your realtor gave you the job to sell his house?" Naruto asked as he walked over. "Yeah, his realtor died yesterday, so now that he's gone, I have to find someone to buy this place," Francine sighed, as between everything that Quagmire had done, it would be a hard sell. Does this include the land around the house?" Naruto asked curiously as he looked at the house. Francine took a look at the paperwork. "Yes," she sighed harder as now it would be an even harder sell. "I'll take it," Naruto said as he pulled out his checkbook. Francine froze at this. "Naruto, it's $500,000 and would require a ton of construction," Francine said, as it had so many sexual devices built inside the walls, it was a safety hazard towards the people living or visiting. "Good. I'll demolish it and build a new place from the ground up," Naruto said as he wrote on the check before handing it to Francine to cover the $500,000 and an extra $100,000 to Francine herself as a tip. Francine took the check and nodded at this before she got out her phone to call her boss. "Yeah, I just sold the Quagmire house. $500,000. No, this is not a joke, I just put up the sign and this guy just bought it. I don't think you'd call him that to his face if you knew who it was," Francine said. Naruto rolled his eyes at this as he went to his car to leave to go visit Lana, now that she was back at her own house after the Quagmire incident. Since the incident, Naruto and his girls have been on rotation to visit and keep her company until school resumed tomorrow. He felt his phone buzz, and when he looked he saw a text from Roberta. "Hey Whiskers, Lana is at the school doing some paperwork to get her mind off this, so if you're looking to see her then that's where she is," she texted. "Alright, I'll go check on her." "Thanks baby," Naruto texted before he drove to the school. James Woods High School. 20 minutes later. Naruto walked into the school with no issues. Despite it being a weekend, many students usually came by for weekend clubs and other electives, as well as some teachers looking to catch up on some work. Naruto walked towards his homeroom classroom and knocked before opening the door. "Hey, Miss Lockhart. The girls told me you'd be here," Naruto said, as he saw Lana sitting at her desk in her regular outfit when she was teaching. Lana immediately looked at him and stood up before grabbing him into a big hug. "Hey, it's okay," Naruto said with a comforting smile as he hugged her. "No, it isn't. You saved me from that horrible monster and stayed at my side while I was unconscious." Lana said with a shaky voice and slight tears in her eyes. "I just did what any decent person would have, plus you should thank Haley more than me. She actually drew blood," Naruto said with a chuckle. "I will, but you stopped him from bringing me into that nightmare though," Lana said with a tremor in her voice. "Don't worry about him, from what I hear he's leaving town, and I just bought his house to tear it down. I'll even let you and Lois have the first swings," Naruto said to her as he rubbed her back soothingly. Lana chuckled at this and nodded as she wasn't gonna turn that offer down. "Thank you. I need to do something for you," Lana said. "You don't need to," Naruto was saying, but Lana cut him off. "Naruto, as your teacher you're supposed to listen to me when in my classroom," Lana said with a firm tone that had a hint of lust in it. "Okay, hang on. Look, as much as I want to do what I think you're implying right now, I do not want to take advantage of you in this state of mind," Naruto said. "Mr. Uzumaki, it's not taking advantage of me if I'm willing, and as you said you do want this, don't you?" Lana asked as she leaned back and sat on her desk and showed off her legs to him. "Well, yes, but... and the reason I was even on that street was to find you and see about effing you in the first place. Why else would I have been jogging there? I don't live near that street," Lana explained. Naruto was silent at this as he didn't expect this. Lana chuckled at this. "Don't be shy, Mr. Uzumaki, I know about you fantasizing about me," Lana smirked. "I'm gonna punish Roberta later," Naruto said with a sigh as he figured it was her who talked. "Oh, she never said it. I just took a guess. And it worked," Lana smirked. "Oh well, I'm only human, and I have a bombshell as my teacher and ring escort after all," Naruto said with a chuckle. "I bet you would love to take me on this desk, wouldn't you, Mr. Uzumaki?" Lana asked as she leant forward, showing her cleavage to him. "Damn right, teach. I'd stain that desk white after I'm done with you," Naruto smirked. "Then go ahead, Mr. Uzumaki, as your teacher. I should teach you how to ee." Lana yelped as Naruto pounced on her, pinning her to the desk as he pulled her into a heated kiss as his hands gripped at her shirt and tore it in half, leaving Lana's upper body bare save for the black bra underneath that was barely containing her high F-cup melons. "Hey, easy with the clothes. I only have what I'm wearing on me here," Lana said with a pout. "Now, Miss Lockhart, you're the one who seduced a student. You should be open to letting him have his way with you," Naruto said before his left hand moved her skirt up and revealed she wasn't wearing any underwear underneath. "You were planning this, weren't you?" Naruto smirked. "Planning what?" Lana asked innocently before she yelped as Naruto turned her around so she was bent over the desk. "Seeing as you were brave enough to go commando, let's see about freeing these as well," Naruto growled as he reached his arms around her and gripped her bra before ripping it off her body and tearing it to shreds. "Ah, so forward, Mr. Uzumaki," Lana moaned at this. "Well, I'm done letting you tease me. It's time you got put on full display for my eyes," Naruto growled as he reached a hand to his zipper and released his hard shaft. "I want this so bad," Lana moaned as Naruto hiked up her skirt while he dropped his pants and underwear along with taking off his shirt. "You better show me a good time, Mr. Uzumaki," Lana said as she looked at Naruto over her shoulder and winked at him with a grin. Naruto growled as he grabbed her by her hips and with a hard thrust impaled her kitty with his shaft, making her scream at the intrusion. "Oh my god," Lana yelled as she held the edge of the desk and held it, knowing once Naruto was ready he would start thrusting. "I actually prefer to be called Naruto, not God." He smirked at the teacher before he started to slowly thrust into her with his thick shaft, hitting her depths instantly. "Oh F, so thick," Lana moaned out, never having anything so big inside of her. "Look who's talking," Naruto grunted as he smacked Lana's ass, leaving a red handprint as it rippled from the spank. "Ah, so manly, so big," Lana moaned out after his spank. "Bigger than your ex?" Naruto asked with a smirk as he started to thrust into his teacher slightly faster than before. "So much bigger. He's a toothpick compared to your spear," she screamed out in lust. "Such a slutty teacher I have," Naruto smirked as he started to speed up while reaching forward with one hand and grabbing her by her hair as he thrusted more of his beach breaker into her tight twat. "Oh god, pull my hair harder," Lana moaned out as she looked up at the ceiling as Naruto thrusted into her faster, making her ass slap against his abs. "I told you I prefer Naruto unless you have a better title for me," Naruto smirked at her as he thrusted hard, finally getting his whole shaft in her. "Pull my hair harder, daddy," Lana shouted as his mind started to break. "If I love when my girls call me that," Naruto growled as he started thrusting harder. "Please, daddy. Use me. Use this stacked teacher's holes for your pleasure. Wreck my womb up, daddy," Lana begged with her tongue hanging out her mouth from the pleasure. Naruto grunted at this as he felt his climax coming. "I bet you would love to move in with me and be my pet," he growled out. "Yes, daddy. I'll move in with you and lay at your feet every night. I'll be your juice-a-dump pet teacher," she yelled as her climax built up from the thought. Naruto shouted at this as the idea of this finally made him climax inside her. "Ah," Lana shouted as she felt his hot seed enter her and caused her to climax hard on her desk, spraying her juices and his juice on her deek and the papers beneath her. Naruto and Lana panted for breath as they recovered from their orgasms. Naruto reached and pulled Lana's head up by her hair and kissed her while still inside her. "You're mine," he growled into her ear. "I'm yours," she said happily and with her tongue still hanging out. "Good now," Naruto said before he pulled out of Lana and flipped her onto her back onto the desk and got on top of her, effectively pinning her to the desk. "Time for me to actually try," he said with a smirk as he thrusted hard into her kitty again. "Oh F yes, daddy," Lana yelled as she arched her back and wrapped her legs around his hips. "Put on a good show, my pet. I want to see those jugs bounce this time," Naruto smirked as he used a hand and slapped her left melon lightly before placing his hands on her hips again. "Yes, daddy," Lana immediately responded between her moans as she reached her hands to her breasts and started to jiggle and shake them as he pounded into her yet again. The sounds of their lovemaking was heard for the next hour before they had to leave. A few days later. It was a regular day on Spooner Street, and there was a crowd of women outside of Quagmire's house. Okay, everyone remember no pushing, no shoving, no fighting. We are all here to tear apart this monument to evil today, Naruto yelled to the crowd. I'll be recording, so if you want footage leave your email with me, Roger said with a black ponytail, sunglasses, and a white suit holding a camera ready to go. Now I have promised 2 women in particular the first swings on this monstrous old place as they suffered much from the previous owner. Lois and Lana, whenever you 2 are ready, Naruto said, gesturing to the 2 women wearing construction hats. Lois took out a big sledgehammer and swung it into the door, tearing it clean off its hinges and sending it into the house and crashing into a wall. Ha 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 ha, I've been waiting to do this for years, Lois shouted on a pure adrenaline rush. Save some for me, Lana yelled with a grin as she smashed a wall with a crowbar, tearing and ripping it down in seconds as she released pent-up rage. Oh okay ladies, go whoa, Naruto yelled as he jumped out of the way of the crowd of women who attacked the house like a wave of zombies. You okay, babe? Haley asked with a chuckle at Naruto, who was catching his breath from getting out of the way. I'm good. Hand me the chainsaw please, he requested after taking a breath. Meg took it, Haley said flatly, as she jerked her thumb at Meg. Ah ha 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 ha, Meg cackled as she revved her chainsaw. Okay, hand me the backup chainsaw, Naruto requested. Roberta, Haley said simply. Well, at least they are having fun, Naruto said with a chuckle. What's going on? A nasally female voice asked Naruto and Haley as a pregnant woman in a purple dress with black hair walked down the sidewalk to see the commotion. Quagmire left town, and we are trashing the place, Lois yelled with a smile as she threw a Molotov at the roof. Oh man, I wish I wasn't pregnant right now. That guy was so creepy, the woman. I'll have a video sent of the destruction to you, Bonnie, Naruto said as he pointed at Roger, as he did have a few conversations with Joe's Kaif when she was over hanging out with Lois and found her to be good company. Come on, you call that a riot? I saw better after the Lakers lost, Roger yelled at the women as he recorded before yelping and dashing away as a giant slab of concrete nearly crushed him. Naruto chuckled at this, finding Roger's attitude funny. You think he's funny now? Who do you think scared Quagmire into leaving the country? Haley whispered to him with a smirk on her face. Him? Naruto asked, surprised. Oh yeah, take a look, Haley said as she showed him her phone with a video loaded up. Naruto looked at the video for a few moments before he burst out laughing. Roger, I owe you a shopping spree, he yelled to the disguised alien. Bitchin', Roger yelled with a thumbs up at Naruto before ducking under a bed being thrown towards him with a scream. A few weeks later, Naruto was standing in front of the now completed house along with Lois, Bonnie, his girls, Francine, Klaus, Roger, Brian, Stewie, and Ellie. Oh my god, Francine said, seeing the new place in shock. It was like night and day compared to when Quagmire was there. Yeah, Mr. Peterschmidt recommended some top-of-the-line contractors to build this place, Naruto said with a smile. How'd your investment in Daddy's company go, by the way? Lois asked curiously as she knew Naruto had invested some money in her father's company. Let's just say I now know the difference between right and wealth, Naruto said, as while Carter was a very rich man and an incredible businessman, that didn't mean he always did the morally right thing. Well, here's to the next chapter of your life, Brian said as he held up a martini along with Ellie. Indeed, Stewie said as he held up a juice box. I dare say I shall miss the conversations with you 2 every day. Other than the dog, I don't have much interaction, Stewie admitted. Don't worry, little man, I'll babysit, Naruto said with a chuckle. Yeah, and if he's unavailable for some reason, I'm sure I can always come over to watch you with Brian, Ellie said with a smile at Stewie. Evil tendencies aside, the baby was a very good intellectual conversationalist after all. So wanna check out the inside? Naruto asked everyone. You bet. Who better have that stripper pole whiskers? Roberta said with a grin. I helped him pick it out, Francine said to her. When did that happen? Haley asked Naruto. Please, like I'm gonna let you work a pole that is cheap. You were a stripper at one point, so you should know better, Francine said with a giggle at her daughter. That answered some questions and raised so many others, Haley said as they all entered the house. Inside the Griffin house, Peter was in the kitchen looking around in the drawers while everyone was gone. All right, where is that stapler? Peter asked himself. Let's see, duct tape, piano wire, some cigarettes, cigar box, a book on Satanism, a book on Catholicism, a box of grenades, a handgun with the words property of Stewie. Whoever that is, a pros and cons list of Lois deciding to divorce me, a slinky, a coffee mug, some jacks and a ball. Wait a minute, the hell? Peter yelled out in realization as he grabbed the list and read it, his anger growing by the second. Lois, Peter yelled as he stormed out the door and headed next door, list in hand. Spooner Street. Immediately after Peter discovered the list of pros and cons Lois wrote in regards to leaving him, Peter stormed out of the Griffin household and marched next door, knowing his wife was getting a tour of their new neighbor and former housemate's house. As he approached Naruto's house, Lois and Naruto walked out of the house since the tour was over. Francine wasn't kidding, that was a nice stripper pole, Lois said, as it was very, very nice. It even had some jewels encrusted into it along with being solid gold. Well, Roberta wanted the best, and I always deliver, Naruto chuckled. You just want me working that pole for you, stud, Roberta yelled from inside the house. Is she at your indoor bar? Lois asked. Locked up the alcohol, Naruto said simply. Damn it, Roberta was heard yelling. Where the F is the key? My fave rum is in there, Roberta yelled. Woman, I will cut you off from sex if you don't chill, Naruto yelled through a window. And quit this ass. Ha, not gonna happen, boy, and you know it, Roberta yelled back. Damn woman with a great ass like I like, Naruto grumbled under his breath as he had no response for this. Lois laughed at this as she found this funny before she spotted Peter approaching. He didn't even say anything but had a face filled with fury. He sent a punch with no words said at Naruto's face, once again doing nothing to the teen. You know that shit is getting old, fat ass, Naruto said boredly. Peter, what the hell? Lois yelled. You bastard! How dare you talk my wife into leaving me? Are you sleeping with her? Peter yelled in a rage. So lost in his rage was he that he didn't even know the full truth. Huh? Not to my knowledge, though Meg did use a wig one time that made her look like Lois one night, Naruto admitted, still having Peter's fist in his face, and it still doing nothing. I don't know who that is, but how dare you try and bone my wife, you son of a bitch, Peter yelled. You know, as interesting as it is to hear you babble like a retard, I have like a million other things I could be doing right now that are far more important than this. So here's what I'm gonna do. If you can beat him, I'll make the time hear you babble, Naruto sat boredly. Beat who? Peter questioned. An old friend of yours. You beat him up over a coupon, which is pretty stupid, by the way, Naruto said. Peter was then tackled by what looked like a giant yellow chicken man. You again? Peter asked with narrowed eyes before the chicken's eyes narrowed back. You harassing my friend, fat ass? The chicken yelled before he sent a punch at Peter's face. The two sending punch after punch at each other as they walked down the street into the city itself. Well, that happened, Naruto said with a flat look. When did you meet Ernie? Lois asked curiously. Met him after fat ass beat him up and took him to the hospital. Guy was so grateful he took me out to dinner with him and his wife. That place had some amazing halibut. Naruto reminisced with a smile. Lois nodded at this. Sorry about Peter, he must have found my pros and cons list of me potentially divorcing him, she said as she shook her head. Oh geez, I didn't even know you made a list, Naruto commented as he winced. This has been a long time coming. I was still on the fence after the many years we spent together was all, Lois explained. And now? Naruto asked curiously. Still deciding, Lois admitted, as they had 3 children together and a lot of history. She wasn't sure if she could just throw it all away, no matter how much Peter pissed her off. Well, whatever you decide, you know your dad and me have your back, Naruto told her. I know, so Meg with a wig that's like my hair? Lois asked with a raised eyebrow and a smirk. She also may have stolen an outfit of yours too, Naruto admitted. Is that where my pink nightie went? Lois asked. I regret nothing, Meg's voice yelled from inside the house. Yeah, sorry about that, Naruto said with a nervous chuckle. It's fine, but if you want a nasty MILF next time, come to me, Lois said with a smirk before she walked towards her house with a sway in her hips for Naruto's viewing pleasure. Holy shit, Naruto muttered at this. He wasn't expecting that, especially since she was still married technically. Please tell me you're tapping that when she divorces fat-ass Meg said, making her presence known behind Naruto. I'm tempted to tap that right now just to piss him off, Naruto admitted. Meg laughed at this. As fun as that sounds, me, Roberta, and Haley want to break in your new bed, daddy, Meg said with a saucy smirk. Isn't Francine still in there? Naruto asked as he didn't see her leave. Haley then barged past them and threw Francine out of the house. Get lost, Mom, I have a stud to please, Haley yelled. I was just gonna give you some pole dancing tips, Francine yelled. Bitch, please. I can work a pole just fine. You know I was a stripper, Haley yelled back. But can you do this? Francine asked as she bent her leg behind her head, while standing on one leg. Whoa, Naruto said with wide eyes. We will talk later, Mom. As for you, get in the house and be ready to break in your main hose, Haley yelled. Naruto growled as he smacked Haley's ass. Fine, I have time to break all 5 of my beaches, he said as he walked inside. Actually, Jillian and I have some things to take care of, lover, but we will be back, Lana said with a chuckle at her energetic lover. Yeah, I love playing with you, Jillian said with a giggle before the 2 blondes left. Wonder what they have planned, Naruto muttered. Forget that, let's play Big Daddy, Roberta said with a smirk as she bent over Naruto's couch, showing off her jean-clad ass. Oh, would you look at the time I have a date, Ellie said as she walked out the door, not wanting to see her owner F his women if she could help it. Naruto threw some hundreds at Ellie as she left and then took off his shirt. We're gonna play a little game, stud. Meg called it hide and get fug, Roberta grinned as she pushed Naruto to the couch. You count to 60 and come find us in your house, you catch one of us, and you get to give us that big shaft like you love, Haley purred into his ear. You get all of us within 8 hours and we'll move in with you, Meg purred into his other ear. If you can't get us in 8 hours, you owe us a mall trip, Roberta said with a smirk. Heh, you 3 know you can't win, right? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. We know, but it's not about if we win, Haley said with a smirk. It's about getting effing wrecked by you, Big Daddy, Roberta said with her own smirk. Plus, you would take us to the mall anyway, right? Meg asked with a fake pout. Yes, I would. All right, game on. 1, 2, 3 inches, Naruto said as he closed his eyes. The 3 teens smiled and quickly ran and pulled off their clothes as they ran to different rooms of the house. 58, 59, 60 inches, Naruto finished his count shortly after they left before he set out on his beach hunt. Let's see who I can find first, he grinned as he stripped fully naked and started to move throughout his new house. Naruto walked up the stairs to see if he could find any of his girls in one of the upstairs rooms. As he walked, he saw a pink bra on the ground in front of his new sauna room. Naruto smirked at this before he opened the door and saw that the sauna room had steam in it. Too easy, he muttered as he swiftly closed the door behind him. Roberta, that better not be you again. I told you to find a different room, the voice of Meg said. Naruto soon spotted Meg's back in the mist, and he instantly hugged her from behind and groped her melons and rubbed his shaft on her kitty. It's not Roberta, Naruto said with a taunting tone as he gripped her melons, making her moan. You found me that fast? Meg moaned in shock at how quickly she was found. Your bra was in front of the door, baby. You made it too easy. Now to claim my prize, Naruto smirked before inserting his shaft fully into her kitty with one thrust. Ah, Meg screamed at feeling his shaft once more penetrate her insides. You are always so tight, Naruto grunted out as he started to thrust and hammer his hips against hers, pounding her cunt with the ferocity of a wild beast. So what do I do to each of you when you're found to show I found you? Naruto asked with a grin. You throw us into your bedroom filled and covered in your seed. That way you have a place filled with your conquered beaches for the game, Meg moaned out with her tongue hanging out her mouth. Works for me. Now let's stretch you out a bit, Naruto said as he grabbed her leg and held it up over his shoulder as he pounded into her, letting his shaft enter deeper in this position. Oh yay, Daddy just takes what he wants, doesn't he? Meg moaned out. Damn right I do, baby girl. Naruto grunted out with a smirk on his lips before he sent a smack to her ass and made the cheek jiggle and ripple from the impact. "Ah, I'm so bad, Daddy. Please punish me," Meg moaned out in pure lust as Naruto smacked her ass again. "Oh, I will. 8 hours, right? Then get ready to take 2 hours of non-stop effing before I hunt the next beach." Naruto grinned as he reached his free hand from her ass to her bouncing melons. "Oh yay, you want to have your main beaches moving, huh, Daddy?" Meg moaned out at his thrusts and touches. "Why not? I mean, it gives us a place to F you all at once freely. No dealing with fat ass, the Vag Chin, or Cleveland when I want to wreck you all," Naruto grinned. "Our house of lust," Meg panted as she felt herself reaching her climax. "And maybe it won't just be you 5. Maybe I'll invite your mom over to join us," Naruto grinned at her, knowing that may send her over the edge with pleasure. "Oh F yay, would you let me watch you F mommy?" Meg yelled out as the idea of this sounded hot. "Oh, I'll make her stare into your eyes as she comes her brains out on my shaft," Naruto smirked. "Ah," Meg screamed as she finally climaxed at this visual in her mind. "Well, I'm supposed to mark you right. Well effing take it," Naruto yelled as he fired his load inside her tight twat as she came as well. Meg fell off Naruto's shaft and landed face down ass up on the sauna bench. "You good?" Naruto asked as he grabbed her by her hair and looked at her a hegao face. "Yay, does Daddy wanna break in my ass?" Meg panted out. "Damn right," Naruto smirked and slapped her ass before he slammed his shaft inside her asshole as he held her hair in his hand during his thrusts. An hour later. Naruto whistled as he carried Meg on his shoulder to his bedroom before dropping her on his bed. "Get some rest, babe. I have 2 more to hunt down," Naruto told her as he looked over her juice-coated melons and ass, his cum leaking from her kitty, Azul, and her mouth. As Naruto left, he didn't notice Haley sneaking out from under his bed. "You know, Meg, Roberta said you and her threw a party while me and Naruto were effing," Haley said with a smirk as she showed she was wearing a strap-on as she crawled onto the bed and joined Meg in the bed. "You want to party with me?" she whispered into Meg's ear as she gripped her melons. Meg didn't respond. Her mouth too filled with Naruto's come to speak and her mind still utterly F to respond. "I'll take that as a yes, now take it," Haley smirked as she thrust the strap-on inside Meg. "Ah, Daddy's so bad," Meg screamed. Suddenly the door burst open as Naruto booted it open, having heard Meg scream and seeing Haley using a strap-on on Meg. "Go hunt Roberta, Studme and Meg are having a party," Haley said with a smirk as she nibbled on Meg's ear. "Fine, but I want you here waiting for me when I'm done. I did find you after all," Naruto smirked. "Fair enough," Haley said with a laugh as she smacked Meg's ass. "Daddy is rougher," Meg moaned out in defiance of her new lover. "Oh, you want rough? Okay then, you little beach," Haley growled out as she grabbed a vibrator from the bedroom nightstand and shoved it into Meg's mouth. Naruto chuckled as he left as Meg screamed in ecstasy. "Now where to find Roberta?" Naruto muttered as he continued his search. As he walked down one of his hallways, he stopped as he heard water running in the master bathroom. He smirked before opening the door slowly and sneaking inside the room. He saw Roberta taking a bath as she had her eyes closed and her fingers pumping in and out of her kitty as she played with herself in the tub, not noticing that he had entered. Naruto quietly made his way close to the tub and he slowly got inside with Roberta. "What took you, Whiskers?" Roberta asked as she felt Naruto pull her into his lap, her chest against his chest as he gripped her ass with his hands. "Was playing with Meg." "You 3 girls are terrible at hiding," Naruto smirked. "But are you having fun?" Roberta asked with a smirk. "Oh, definitely. We should do this again and include Jillian and Lana," Naruto said as he smiled. "Don't forget Haley's mom and Meg's mom," Roberta smirked. "Francine wants me?" Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. "Well duh. Have you met her husband?" Roberta rolled her eyes as it seemed obvious she was at least attracted to Naruto. "Noted now, kitty your ass?" Naruto asked with a lusty smirk. "Surprise me, stud. Use my mouth if you want." Roberta smirked, leaving it up to him. Naruto growled as he turned Roberta around, making her laugh. "You love my ass, don't you, stud?" Roberta asked as she twerked her ass a little for Naruto as he crawled on top of her. Damn straight, Naruto growled before he shoved his shaft inside her asshole, reaching his hands around to paw at her large bouncing melons. Ah, you were so deep, Roberta moaned out from feeling him inside her already. Every single time I love feeling your tight asshole wrap around my thick shaft. Naruto grunted out as he moved one of his hands from her breasts to her face and turned her head for a heated tongue kiss. I know you do, stud, Roberta panted out before finding his tongue shoved down her throat again, preventing her from speaking as he thrust it into her. The sounds of water splashing, Naruto's grunts, and Roberta panting could be heard as Naruto jackhammered away at her. After finishing with Roberta, Naruto chuckled as he literally dragged Roberta across the floor, her body limp, covered and filled with his juice, her face having a similar look as Meg's Ahegao look from earlier as he brought her into the master bedroom. Naruto opened the door expecting to see Haley still effing Meg with a strap on, but she was not there. Oh, that naughty beach. She disobeyed me, Naruto smirked as he set Roberta down next to the stupid Meg. When he turned around, he saw a note on the bedroom door. Meg didn't last long, so I want to play a lightning round you game, Whiskers, the note said. Ha, game on, Naruto grinned as he walked out the door to search for her. He traveled down to the basement to see if she was down there. He searched and searched, not seeing her, wondering where she could be before he suddenly paused and reached behind himself without looking, grabbing a handful of tits as Haley had literally been shadowing him since he left the bedroom. Okay, who the hell taught you to be so stealthy? Naruto asked, very impressed. Nobody. It just comes natural to me, Haley said nonchalantly as he gripped her tits. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this, as this was very odd since he could have sworn Haley was a pro at stealth. He shrugged before he turned around and pushed her against the basement wall, reaching his hands on her body, one playing with her tits and the other instantly inserted into her snatch. Since you disobeyed orders of staying in the room, I'll just have to make you my pet for the rest of the night, Naruto smirked. Hey, I won't get any complaints from me. I'm not one to get fed up with orgasms, Haley was saying before her face suddenly went blank. Haley, you okay? Whoa, Naruto shouted as he suddenly found himself slammed back first into the wall as Haley switched places with him, his hand still inside her snatch as she did so. Haley said nothing as she pulled Naruto into a rough kiss as she grabbed his shaft and pumped it in her hand. Holy F, she's actually as strong as me, Naruto thought. What the hell is with her? He thought as Haley easily dominated his mouth with her tongue. Haley still said nothing as reached her other hand around to his ass before Naruto spun them back, seeing this. Nope. No way am I letting anything be inserted there, Naruto yelled. Haley growled at this before she threw Naruto to the ground and pounced on him, immediately smashing her hips against his as his shaft immediately found itself in her tight cunt. Did you get tighter? Naruto grunted out as Haley rode his cock like she was possessed. Naruto went to reach his hands up to her before she used her own to pin his to the ground as she bounced and bounced. Her face still stoic, but she was panting like an animal in heat. That's hot, Naruto growled before he used his full strength to push her hands up and even stand up with her still bouncing on his shaft. With a loud roar, he pinned her hands and back against the wall. Haley tried to fight back as he did her, but couldn't match his full strength. I'm not gonna stop till you're fed up with this orgasm, Naruto roared, repeating her earlier words as he came inside her. Haley's eyes suddenly widened and her personality seemed to return as she climaxed herself. Oh did you make me blank out, babe? Haley panted out as Naruto pulled out of her and she slid down the wall. What the hell was that? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow, as while incredibly hot, this was kinda worrying. What was what? I remember being against the wall. Next thing I know I'm coming, Haley admitted. Let me try something. You trust me, right, babe? Naruto asked. Of course, Haley said without hesitation. I'm getting fed up with this orgasm, Naruto said, simply wanting to test something. Haley's eyes suddenly blanked again before she jumped back to her feet and jumped on his still hard dick once more. Okay, I'm so kicking your dad's ass, after we finish fucking, I mean, he said as he continued pounding the blank-faced, extremely strong Haley as he brought her to the bedroom with his strength, still effing her all the way up the stairs. The next morning, It was now morning and Naruto was making pancakes and eggs for his girls while they waited at the table. "I am gonna kill my dad," Haley yelled in fury. "I can't believe he effing brainwashed you," Meg said. "He probably brainwashed Steve too. I'm kicking his nads in," Haley growled as she was pissed the hell off. "Yeah, but goddamn girl, you are a freak when you're all secret agent," Roberta said as she looked at the scratch marks on Naruto's back and a few bite marks too. "So what was the phrase?" Meg asked as she was fucked out of her mind and barely remembered. "Nope. That's between me and Haley," Naruto said as he wasn't gonna just say what the phrase was so they could abuse it. "Oh, come on," Meg yelled as she frowned. "Yeah, no secrets with your top beaches," Roberta said, agreeing with Meg. "You can tell them, provided they don't abuse it and it stays between us 4 inches," Haley said with a sigh. Naruto sighed as he took out his phone and texted Roberta. Roberta looked at her phone and after a few moments, "PFFFT," Roberta snorted before she laughed her ass off as Meg snatched her phone to take a look. "Oh, for fuck's sake," Meg said as she rolled her eyes at Stan's code word. "So alls we have to do to get freaky with Secret Agent Haley is say I'm getting FWD up with this." Roberta was cackling before Haley's hand covered her mouth. "Zip it," Haley yelled as she covered Roberta's mouth. "Kind of curious if he did this to Steve too, what his word is," Meg admitted. "I'll get it out of Stan later. For now, eat up you 3, Naruto said as he placed a stack of pancakes for them before he heard a knock at the door. Raising an eyebrow, he answered it, seeing Lois and Francine at his door. "What's up you two?" he asked curiously. "We just came to check on our daughters," Lois said with a smile. "What's the actual reason?" Meg deadpanned, knowing her mother too well to believe that. "We heard a lot of banging last night and were worried and impressed," Francine said as Naruto let her and Lois in. "Yay, well, blame the freak here," Roberta said with a chuckle at Haley, who rolled her eyes. "Huh?" Francine muttered, confused. Haley was many things: pothead, stripper, environmental activist, etc. But a freak in bed, nah. She herself was always crazier than her daughter when it came to the bedroom. "Let's just say I'm gonna put a foot up Dad's ass," Haley said with a scowl. "Oh, goddammit. What did he do this time?" Francine sighed. One explanation later. The two wives were silent in shock at this. "I think this beats Peter," Francine Lois said as she sighed. "You okay?" Naruto asked Francine as she was silent after the explanation. Suddenly Francine pulled a gun out of her dress from her bra, stood up and walked out. "Your mom is strapped?" Meg asked Haley, surprised at this. "Our family has shot each other on far too many occasions," Haley said boredly. They then heard several gunshots across the street and yells from Stan and Francine. "Oh God, why? Why did you shoot me in the shaft?" Stan was heard yelling in pan. "You made my baby a sleeper agent, you xenophobic F-wad," Francine yelled back. "You found out about Steve's code word?" Stan questioned. "You did it to him too?" Francine was heard yelling before another gunshot was heard. "Ah, that was my testicle," Stan yelled. "Take it like a man, you bitch," Francine yelled. Naruto and the other women were silent at this. "Babe, your mom is so effing hot now," Naruto said with a chuckle at this display of anger. "You beach," Stan yelled in agony as he ran out to the front yard holding his bleeding crotch. "Hey, wanna know how this is ending?" "Hey, Naruto, wanna F?" Francine yelled as she followed. "Divorce him first, then we can talk," Naruto yelled out the door. "Done," Francine yelled, fully done with Stan's bullshit. "You dirty beach," Stan yelled, pulling a gun out before he passed out from blood loss. "Roger, call the ambulance for this idiot," Francine yelled up at the attic window. "Do I have to? I'm watching Netflix," Roger yelled from the attic. "You can operate on him to save his life," Francine said with an evil grin. "Ooh, I'll bring out Dr. Doctorson," Roger yelled happily as various things were heard moving from the attic. Meanwhile, Naruto, his girls, and Lois were watching this. "Damn girl, your mom is hardcore," Roberta said to Haley with a chuckle at Francine's display. "You have no idea. She once joined a cult and then usurped it to worship her," Haley said. "Wow, I think she's got you beat, Mom," Meg said as she looked at Lois with a teasing grin. "Me, we all did crazy things in our youth," Lois shrugged. Name one you did that was this level, Meg said, gesturing at Stan as Roger loaded him into an ambulance. Does getting plowed by Gene Simmons of Kiss count? Lois asked. Naruto choked on his coffee at this. You what? He asked, not expecting that. Oh yeah, and they were fun but couldn't keep up, big boy, Lois said with a challenging grin at Naruto. Wait, I thought the worst you did was that porno, Meg said. You did what? Naruto asked again, not expecting that. Oh relax, it was one, and it was kinda shit, Lois shrugged. Before anyone could respond, Francine, covered in Stan's blood, walked into the house whistling a tune. Hope you have a lawyer that can defend this and get you a good divorce settlement, Haley said with a grin, as while she liked what her mom did, she didn't want her locked up for it. Lois recommended one to me the other day, Francine said nonchalantly. Ooh, that idiot is so fucked, Naruto grinned, realizing which one Lois recommended. Yeah, and the CIA will probably throw him under the bus once it's out. He put Haley through that sleeper agent crap. Steve too, apparently, Meg said. Doubt it. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Bullock's idea in the first place, Haley scoffed at that. Well, let's go call that lawyer, Lois said as she smiled. Sounds good, bestie, Francine said with a smile at Lois. Can we use your phone, Naruto? Francine asked. Oh, by all means. I don't want to miss this. Naruto grinned as he was loving this day already. And then another knock at the door came. Lois and Francine went into the other room with the phone. Man, I feel pretty popular today, Naruto said as he opened the door and saw a skeleton wearing a black cloak carrying a scythe. Who are you? Naruto said, confused. I'm Callista Flockhart. Who do you think I am? I'm Death, the cloaked scythe wielder said. You're not taking him, Meg, Roberta, and Haley yelled at this as they all grabbed a baseball bat, a golf club, and hatchet. Hey, don't argue with Death, ladies. I came to reap one Peter Griffin's soul, and that's who I'm taking, Death said firmly as he held out some paperwork. Next door, buddy. You want the fat guy with glasses and a chin that looks like balls, Naruto said politely. Oh, shit, I'm at the wrong house, Death groaned. It's okay, I just rebuilt the place, and it's an easy mistake to make, Naruto said kindly. Thanks. Say, would you mind if I just sit down for a few minutes? I've been on my feet all day, Death asked. Sure, just don't touch the plants or my girls, Naruto said with a chuckle. Let me just make sure they're not on my list. Hey, let's see, Not for a long while it seems. Even the plants and dog, Death said as he reviewed Naruto and the others' time till death. So what is Fat Boy dying of? Naruto asked curiously while his girls dropped their weapons. Hey, let's see, he was in the hospital yesterday and it says he's already dead. And for sex it says no thanks, I'm dead? What the hell even is this? Death asked. A wonderful fat ass probably wanted to skip out on the bill for the doctor after the chicken kicked his ass, Meg said with an eye roll. Oh Simon, is it that hard to send a note to me that this is an insurance, Death? Death groaned before Lana and Jillian entered the house. Hey, how was last? And oh my god, it's a Dementor, Jillian yelled in surprise at seeing Death. Relax, sweetheart, he's a friend, Naruto said as he threw Death a bottled water. You read Harry Potter? Lana asked Jillian with a raised eyebrow. You can read a movie? Jillian asked, confused. And there it is, Haley said with a sigh as this was the expected response. All right. Well, I gotta go reap Peter's soul. Thanks for the water and letting me sit. And the talk even. Usually don't get to talk to anyone. You sure you have to off him? I mean, it's an insurance scam, Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Well, usually that takes paperwork, and it's easier to just kill them and take the soul, Death said as he stood up. Welp, we tried everything we could, Meg said with a shrug. So you don't want him to suffer through the divorce? Haley asked with a raised eyebrow. If you sleep with Mom while she's still married, I'll agree to this. Meg, you know better than that, Naruto said as he had some ethics unlike Quagmire. What does it matter if she's getting the divorce? Meg asked. So you're saying I should just pull a Quagmire? Why not just start saying giggity while I'm at it? Naruto told her. The grills all shuddered at this. Okay, point made. Never say that again, Meg said. Ha, You guys are a riot. I'll tell you what, I'll do the paperwork and just have Griffin charged with fraud, Death said. You can do that? Roberta asked curiously. Well, yay, insurance fraud is no joke in heaven or hell. Even the devil hates it, Death said. Sounds like a plan to me, thanks for the favor, Death. No problem, kid, Death said as he stood up. Hope to see you again soon, you're kinda mellow for Death, Naruto said as Death went to the door. Oh, don't worry, I'll be back really soon. Haha, you should see the looks on your faces. Is he joking? Is he? Ha ha ha, Death laughed. Naruto laughed at this as he nodded as Death actually had him for a moment. Alright, I gotta go. I think I have a celebrity to go take next, Death said as he walked off. Who knew Death was a cool guy, Haley said as she chuckled at how odd this was. Wow, we met a Dementor and lived, Jillian giggled. Never change, my beautiful bimbo. Never change. Naruto chuckled at Jillian. Quahog Courthouse. It had been a few weeks since Francine shot Stan in retaliation for brainwashing their children, as well as Naruto meeting Death. Thankfully for this one, charges were dropped, since if it got out that the CIA had let Stan do this, then they would get in trouble as a whole. They would be under public scrutiny and be investigated, leading to other things being revealed. So Stan didn't press charges, and the CIA sent Haley and Steve a bribe to keep quiet about the brainwashing. The bribes were accepted on the condition that the CIA would not interfere with Francine getting a divorce from Stan, which they took obviously, since we now open on Francine in court with Stan. So Mrs. Smith, may I ask why you wish for this divorce? Stan looked at Francine with a slightly ugly look, since he figured she didn't have anything besides the brainwashing, which she couldn't use thanks to the settlement with the CIA. Yes, I have multiple counts of Stan's reckless behavior, such as shooting our son at a barbecue about a month ago, which he was arrested for, and several counts of recklessness on file from when we lived in Langley Falls, Francine said as her lawyer handed the files to the judge. I see. Do you have any witnesses from Langley Falls? The judge asked as he had looked over the evidence on file, but actual testimony would help. Actually, yes. Not only did my children agree to explain things he had done to them, but the families of my son's friends drove down today to provide witness accounts, Francine said calmly as several people in the seats stood up, including a Japanese family, a brown-haired kid and his mother, and a rather rotund kid with his two, for some reason, crazy attractive parents. Mr. Smith, do you have anything to negate this evidence? The judge asked. Whatever I did in service to my country as a CIA agent, Stan said simply. And are your bosses willing to testify to that? The judge asked. They would if they weren't on official CIA business, Stan said quickly. Not saying that they went to get hookers and blow rather than defend him. The judge rolled his eyes at this. Well, I'm afraid that's not enough. Matter of fact, if this was a criminal court case, you'd have been sentenced to life for half this evidence alone. Luckily for you, this is only a divorce court. I hereby grant Francine Smith her divorce, custody of your son and daughter till they are of age, the house which you two lived in. You will also give $10,000 a month in alimony and child support to Francine Ling. The judge ruled as he banged his gavel. You son of a bitch, Stan yelled as he rushed towards the judge's booth in a rage. However, he was hit with a dart in the back of his neck courtesy of Roger dressed as a bailiff. Nice shot, Bailiff Carlson, the judge complimented. Thank you, Judge, Roger said as he put away his tranquilizer gun before he then smacked Stan in the face with his billy club as he fell to the ground when the dart took effect. Police brutality, Stan groaned out before his eyes started to close due to the tranquilizer effects. We didn't see nothing, did we? Naruto asked with an evil grin at Haley, Roberta, and Meg, who were sitting with him, who shook their heads in agreement. He may also have a gun, Francine said as Stan always kept a gun on him. Always. He does, I can see it under his suit, Roger said. Lock him up. I'll have him charged with attempted assault and threatening an officer of the court, as well as attempted assault of a city official, the judge said as more cops came and picked up the groggy Stan and took him away. For God's sake, he tried to attack a judge after the ruling. How dumb could he be? I may need to get a restraining order, Francine muttered to herself. Granted. I'll give the paperwork to your lawyer. Just fill it out and bring it to the police station tomorrow. the judge said as he got out his booth and left the room as Stan was dragged off. Outside an hour later. Everyone was outside the courthouse chatting while Stan was dragged out and thrown into a prisoner escort van. "You can't do this to me, I'm a CIA agent," Stan yelled as the doors to the van were slammed on him. "Don't drop the soap, Dad," Haley yelled with a grin as the van drove off. Well, that was eventful. Francine sighed in relief at it being over. "You okay?" Naruto asked her. "Yeah, I'm fine thanks to Lois' lawyer getting all that dirt on Stan," Francine said. "No problem. Daddy's lawyers get results," Lois said with a smile. "So since I didn't ask before the case, where's the fat jackass?" Naruto asked Lois as every one of the Griffin family was there barring Peter. "No clue. He said something about golfing or something," Lois sighed in frustration. "Well, at least he was out of the way for this," Naruto said as he sighed in relief. Last thing he needed was Peter to do something stupid or crazy. "So what's next for you, Francine?" Lois asked, changing the subject. "I'll probably try and bring my sister down and maybe my parents to see if they want to stay at the house," Francine shrugged. "Should be easy since Dad kept them from moving in." "Well, he kept Grandma and Grandpa out anyway," Steve said, knowing Stan had an obsession with Francine's sister Gwen. "Well, we have the room for them now that Haley lives with Naruto and Stan's gone," Francine said with a smile. "Hey Mom, can me and Chris go off with my friends while they are in town?" Steve asked Francine. "No problem, just don't do anything Roger would do," Francine told him. "What am I, Dad?" Steve said with a smile as he ran off with his friends to hang out. "Should we tell him his friend's parents are moving here?" Haley asked her mom with a chuckle. "We'll tell him later," Francine told her. "For now I want to celebrate." "Let's head out to a restaurant, my treat," Naruto said as everyone headed for their cars. Restaurant. "So when's your next fight?" Brian asked Naruto as he finished his steak. "In 5 days actually. And it's someone that won't go down in one punch. Some guy named Chuck Cunningham. He's in the heavyweight title division," Naruto answered. Lois pulled out her phone and looked him up. "Him?" Lois asked, revealing a muscular Caucasian man with slicked back dark brown hair and green eyes with a chin-strap beard. "Yeah, that guy. Mr. Pewterschmidt said if I beat him I'm a match away from the title," Naruto said. "With just 2 matches?" Brian asked curiously as he drank his drink. "A lot of the contenders in Quahog's heavyweight division don't want to face him after what he did to Francois. Apparently he made an impression after his debut," Ellie said with a smirk. "Naruto can take him easily," Roberta said with a grin at Naruto, "and after that he'll take us like the beast he is." "He does that every night," Haley said as she chuckled. "Yes, but imagine he knocks this guy out, then takes us all sweaty in the locker room, with muscles rippling," Roberta moaned at the image. "Okay, we're in public so stop that," Naruto said as he took out a squirt bottle and sprayed at Roberta a few times. Before anyone could say anything, Lois' phone started to ring. "Hello? Yes, this is Lois Griffin." "Really? Yes, I'll do it. Thank you so much for this opportunity," Lois said with a bright smile before she hung up. "Good news?" Meg asked curiously as she handed Roberta a washcloth. "The Quahog Theater not only took my suggestion for the play this month to put in production, but asked me to direct it," Lois said with a bright grin. "That's amazing," Brian said with a smile. "Awesome, Mom," Meg said with a smile as well. "That's great, Lois. What play is it?" Naruto asked. "I picked a classic. The King and I." "Oh wow, I have to set up some auditions and roles for the show," Lois said as it started to hit her how much work she'd need to do. "Don't worry, I'll help you. I have spare time now," Francine said as she smiled at her friend. "I'm sure the girls and I can also help after school," Naruto said with a smile. "What about your match?" Lois asked. "I've got some time and I won't probably perform, I'll just help with some of the backstage setup if anything," Naruto told her. "All right, then I'll start setting up auditions after we leave. Hopefully by the end of the week we have our cast," Lois said with a smile. "And hopefully we can keep fat ass out of the way," Meg said as she rolled her eyes. "Oh God, I didn't even think of Peter getting involved," Lois said as she groaned and pinched her nose. "Don't worry, I'll take care of him. You just focus on your play," Naruto told her firmly. "You're not gonna off him, right?" Brian asked concerned. What? No, I'll just distract him. Geez man, Naruto said as he shook his head. Damn, I was gonna record it, Meg said with a pout as she loved the idea of Naruto beating the hell out of Peter. Meg, Lois yelled to reprimand her daughter. Oh please, I think after him attacking Naruto, he deserves a cracked skull at least, Meg said as she waved her hand dismissively. That's still your father though, Ellie pointed out. Not when I'm in public. How does Peterschmidt sound? Meg asked everyone. You're serious? Naruto asked surprised. What? I figured someone should pass on Grandpa's name, Meg said as she shrugged. We'll discuss this later, Lois sighed before everyone left to help Lois with her audition set up and Francine with her restraining order paperwork. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author KFB Anime 87 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.